We are live. I'm sure Amber's looking at it.
Word, word.
get everything, get everything going. It is officially Super Bowl Sunday. We we've been waiting all week for this. Got the
Man, for real, man. Definitely excited to get this roll, man. For real.
yeah,
And
and
go ahead.
no, the Rooted in Sports live podcast finally
Yes,
on.
sir.
As you guys know, we started out with the chat. I said I wanted to do something different. I want us to have fun. So, this got with this gentleman and we went ahead and threw it together. So let's go ahead and get this thing kicked off.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. First of many, man. And definitely want to say, thanks for the opportunity. This is something that, me and you do all day, every day anyway. So hey,
Right.
let's just introduce ourselves to the world and allow everybody to chime in, man.
Right. Right. So stay tuned for the intro. And just like that, we are back, right? So we got some good guests lined up for you guys today. Yeah, we got some guests coming on probably in the next 25, 30 minutes. And we'll have some pretty much every hour for the next 3 hours until we want to get you guys out of here at least 30 minutes before the Super Bowl. So, I mean, we gave y'all all morning to get y'all stuff, run in the store, go to Albertsons, go to Food for Less, wherever the hell you shop at, and get your beer. Throw whatever you got to throw on the grill, right? So, I know me and him, I guess I got to kick it off, Swan, man. Me and you got different opinions on this damn Super Bowl. You're rocking with the Rams. Everyone that knows me knows that I'm rocking with Cincy. I love what they're doing with their football team. So I guess the first question that comes to mind is going to be, how do these two teams match up with each other from a skill? We can go position by position, but how do you feel like these two teams match up with each other?
So actually, I think these two teams are a lot closer. I think they mirror each other a lot more than a lot of analysts give credit. Looking at both teams, especially offensively, they both got big guns. They both got a lot of the big names that we know. The Rams are actually fifth in scoring offense this season at about 28 points a game. Cincinnati was right there at seventh with about 27.1 to be exact points per game. So I mean, both these two teams are very evenly matched. They both got big name wide receivers. Cooper Kupp for the Rams, who went for right under 2,000 receiving yards this season. I think he was at 1941 or so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You got Ja'Marr Chase, who was our NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year. He had about 1,400 yards receiving himself. So I mean, it's stars all over the board. I mean, obviously, the Rams went out and got Matt Stafford. They went out and got OBJ. They still got Van Jefferson. On Cincinnati's end, we mentioned Ja'Marr Chase. Joe Mixon was a 1,200-yard rusher. They still got T. Higgins, who also had over 1,000 yards receiving. They still got Tyler Boyd, the tight end Uzama. So I think on both ends, I mean, especially offensively, you got a ton of stars, a ton of big names. Defensively, which I think will be really, really important. We know most of the huge names as far as the Rams go with Aaron Donald and Von Miller and Leonard Floyd, Jalen Ramsey. That's really where I think there could be a slight advantage for the Rams, and I'll probably get into that a little more later, but I think that's where it could be a slight advantage for the Rams and their pass rush and them being able to get pressure on Joe Burrow. But But yeah, beyond that, man, I'll give you my scoring prediction later. But I think these two teams are very, very, very close to each other, man. It's going to be a great game.
And I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that because we actually on Rooted in Sports chat, we actually talked about this about a few weeks ago, and we actually went through every single position, and we came to the conclusion. Even people that Ravens fans and Steelers fans, people that really didn't want to come to that conclusion, we came to the conclusion that the Bengals really might have the better overall roster, going position from position. The Rams just kind of have the bigger names. So we went Joe Burrow. I'll be honest, I'm taking Joe Burrow led the league in completion percentage. I'll take Joe Burrow over Matthew Stafford. I think he turns the ball over just a little bit less, right? I think You said what? No, it's not. How is it a fire take? We just watched Matthew Stafford almost throw the game away last week. Or 2 weeks ago, my bad. NFC Championship, right? Threw it right to the Jaquiz Tart, right?
True. And he did lead the league in interceptions this year quietly.
Exactly. And if I'm not mistaken, his last 2 to 3 weeks, he had about 3 pick sixes, 2 to 3 pick sixes. Yep. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, Matthew Stafford's probably playing some of his better ball down the stretch, but every here now and again, he'll pop out and throw a few turnovers, right? So quarterback, we went Joe Burrow. Running backs, I don't think it's any question. The Bengals are superior at running back with Joe Mixon, and they got Samaje Perine coming off the bench. And he had that big screen touchdown. I didn't even know he had it in him because he's a power guy. He had that big screen that they scored against Kansas City. Yeah, that put them back in the game. Offensive line, obviously, you would give the Rams the edge slightly, but the Rams don't have a great offensive line either. Like you can get pressure on Matthew Stafford as well, right? So then we went receivers. Some people went Rams, obviously, because you got Cooper Kupp and OBJ is starting to look a little bit more like OBJ of years past. But I went the Bengals because to me they're just deeper, right? All three of their top three receivers have all been number one guys at certain points. T. Higgins was quietly their number one last year before Jamar Chase got here. So Tyler Boyd, his resume speaks for itself. So I think that I think Tyler Boyd said the best. He said, they were talking about Jalen Ramsey. He says, look, either way it goes, they have to match us, right? So my biggest fear for them is putting Jalen Ramsey on a Jamar Chase and just leaving the other guys out to dry because T. Higgins can win on his own. Tyler Boyd can win on his own. So that's the exciting part. So receiver, I went with the Bengals. Then we go tight end. Tight end's probably a little more even across the board. Uzama's actually probably coming to his own now, and then obviously, obviously the Rams have a stud tight end. How do I say his last name?
Not Higbee, right? Because Higbee's out for the game.
Exactly, Higbee's out. Exactly. So I had to forget who their backup is, right? But maybe you give Uzama the edge. Who knows, right? So then you flip over to the defensive end.
I think I might have gave Uzama the slight edge if Higbee was playing.
Exactly, right? So some people even went with that. Now here's where it gets interesting because I'm going to tell you this. Everybody, this idea that the Rams have a great defense is a farce. And I practiced using that word. I looked it up in the dictionary, how to use farce.
I can agree with that.
Yeah, it's a farce, right? I think that they have talent at certain positions, but I don't think that it's anything I don't think it's anything you can say that the Rams do that puts them over the top, right? And granted, they have elite players, so they have a Jalen Ramsey, but Jalen Ramsey has shown to be mortal this postseason and at certain points this season.
Right.
And Aaron Donald kind of has to, as much as I love him, and I think he's one of the greatest defensive players to ever touch the field, greatest players, regardless of position. He does kind of sometimes, I don't know if it's circumstance, he doesn't always shine the brightest on the biggest stages, whether he gets hurt, but sometimes he doesn't shine bright. So that's going to be a question mark. But overall, the Rams have the 15th ranked defense and the Bengals have the 17th ranked defense.
Yep.
Right. So they're not far apart. So let's go position. Corner, easily we're going to give the Rams the edge. They got Jalen Ramsey, and then they got the other kid on the other side. What's his name? Williams, I want to say.
I would, but this is my thing. And I mean, you pretty much made my pick known, and I know it probably sounds like I'm giving more stats in Cincinnati's favor, but I mean, Okay, I'm not a huge Eli Apple fan, but I think that as a collective between him and Hilton, they still got Jesse Bates back there in the secondary. Woozy's back there. I mean,
I think the Bengals
Ramsey's
have.
the bigger name, probably the best of the crew. But I mean, we looking at a team who just who did they just bring back at safety? The Rams. He was sitting at home a couple weeks ago. They brought him back for the playoffs.
They brought what's his name? The beard.
Weddle.
Weddle. And they brought Eric Weddle back, right? They brought Eric Weddle.
Right. You know, so I mean, they outside of Ramsey, the secondaries may be a little more evenly matched than we think.
I don't even think it's evenly matched. I think as a collective, I think the Bengals have a better secondary because I think the Bengals have. I think they have probably one of the better safety duos in the league. And then Chidobe Awuzie, you know, Dallas bred, you know, I don't know what it is. Cowboys, we just develop players for other teams and they go elsewhere, win championships. But
you know, I gave you that, huh? I threw you that pass right there, huh?
No, but honestly, all jokes aside, Chidobe Awuzie is playing some really good ball. And if I could be mistaken, I don't think he's surrendered a touchdown all season. Could be wrong, but I know that he's graded. A Pro Football Focus has him rated something like 89.3 or 83.9, somewhere up in there. But he's been one of the top rated corners this entire season. And Eli Apple, a lot of people get upset with Eli Apple, and they're not realizing like he was terrible. Like he was literally one of the worst. He was literally right. That's an understatement. So where he is now to even be able to make timely plays and be solid, I'm not an Eli Apple fan. I'm completely on board with him talking his shit. Like I'm here for it.
Right? And he has been, you know.
Yeah, I mean, what we gonna do? We gonna get mad at him because you know the confidence that this team has. You'll get mad at him because he bounced back from having a terrible career and now he's playing good ball and now they're in the Super Bowl and they've been beating teams. They've been picked to lose basically every week since the playoffs started.
Well, I'll tell you this much: for all the talk, he had better back it up because he's gonna have. I mean, he's talking as if he's gonna be taking on OBJ. From what I've seen, he's talking as if he's gonna be taking on OBJ one-on-one. I'm assuming they're gonna be sliding the double team over to Cooper Kupp. So he's talking as if he's going to take on OBJ one-on-one. And, I mean, he better back it up. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, one thing we can lay our hat on is at least he got reps against him. So,
yeah.
He probably has a better understanding.
Too, the fact that, you know, they were teammates and he did get to see him quite a lot. So, I mean, we're going to see. I'm not too confident in the matchup personally, but we'll see what happens.
No, I mean there's some familiarity there, and I like Chidobe Awuzie's chances against Odell Beckham. He's actually played really good ball against him, you know, during his time when he was in Dallas and Odell Beckham his latter years in New York. So, secondary wise, I think Cincinnati has the better secondary. Linebacker, I think they have better linebackers. All right, Pratt and Pratt. I keep forgetting one. That just shows you how little the names that they have in their defense, but. Pratt is really good. I think he's easily the starter. Both linebackers, I think, from Cincinnati can go over to LA and essentially be starters day one. Now, right. I think the mix up is, you know, everybody's looking at the defensive line, which of course Aaron Donald is the creme de la creme. He's the class of the NFL from a defensive standpoint. But. And people, I'll die on this hill. You guys will get, you know, I know some people might be mad at me. I don't think, I think Von Miller is a shell of himself. And I think that Leonard Floyd is, I think he's above average, but I think he benefits a lot from the attention paid to Aaron Donald. And that's why you're seeing him. He's kind of had a. I can agree with
both assessments.
Right. And that being said, if we're talking about edge players, Leonard Floyd and Von Miller are not playing better ball than Trey Hendrickson and Sam Hubbard right now. They're just not.
Yeah, I can agree with that, especially in these playoffs, man. They definitely made their presence. Now, what I do think is that as far as from an offensive line standpoint for Cincinnati, I still believe that the Rams are going to give them some trouble. And that's where I kind of think, that's why I think I kind of leaned in the Rams' favor, just because I think that the Rams are going to win that matchup. The Rams were rated number 1 in pass rush win percentage.
Win percentage.
Mm-hmm. By Cincinnati, offensive line was 30th. So I mean, it's been noted 1,000,001 times, you know, in their first playoff game against Tennessee, they won despite giving up 9 sacks. So
then that is where it gets interesting for me, because what I try to tell people is that, okay, if they beat a Tennessee team that sacked Joe Burrow 9 times, and one thing I will say, that Tennessee defensive line, to me, is better than this Rams defensive line. They were, especially how they were playing in the playoffs. Jeffrey Simmons, Danico Autry, Harold Landry was on fire. To me, there were 2 teams coming into the playoffs that had the hottest pass rushes coming in, and that was Buffalo and that was Tennessee. Right.
So I think. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, my biggest point, my biggest question, and maybe you can answer it: do people think, okay, if Tennessee sacked Joe Burrow 9 times and still lost the game, do you think that, like, it's not going to be enough for them to sack Joe Burrow 3 or 4 times and think that's just going to win the game for him because he doesn't get rattled?
Oh, yeah. Obviously, I mean,
he doesn't get rattled. So he's not. You hit him a couple of times. No. So is it really? I mean, there's going to have to be a turnover. They're going to have to flip the field. But I think the idea that, they're going to sack Joe Burrow 5 times and that's going to win them the game. I'm like, no, buddy. They played a defense that was much better and a defensive front that was much more aggressive, and they were able to come out that one. Granted, lick their wounds and beat a Kansas City team the next week. But what were you about to say?
I think what we differ is that I don't believe that Tennessee's defensive line is better than the Rams. So I think that's where we differ. Now I think you can argue. I think you can argue that at that time they may have been playing at a higher level, but I just think the Rams defensive line is better.
Okay, so how you're saying better? I think for me, I'm trying to figure out how can they possibly be better. Jeffrey Simmons has probably been every bit as effective as Aaron Donald has been, especially in the postseason. Jeffrey Simmons, he's arrived.
I mean, we can't say he's only going to play 1 postseason game.
Okay, but he had 3 sacks in that game. Okay, he had 3 sacks in that game.
I mean,
okay.
I think that's a testament to the slight in the Cincinnati Bengals offensive line. You know what I'm saying? I mean, consider this. Okay, and you like Jeffrey Simmons. You do like Jeffrey Simmons, but I don't think he's in Aaron Donald's league.
No, well, okay.
So Jeffrey Simmons can go out there and 3 sacks on his team.
I think I'll tell you this. The back end of the 2021 season, Jeffrey Simmons was every bit as effective as Aaron Donald. Every bit as effective. He was that good. And watch this. And Jeffrey Simmons,
I can agree from that standpoint. He was playing at that time. He was playing at a high level.
At that level. So I think maybe you can say Aaron Donald's a better player. Sure, trust me. I don't argue about that. But Jeffrey Simmons elevated his game, which to me is a big reason why Tennessee was even able to win football games while Derrick Henry was gone, because that defensive front stepped up. Right, we know how solid Danico Autry is. Danico Autry was like an unheralded sack artist when he was in Indy, right? When they kind of had their resurgence.
Very underrated. Very
underrated. And Harold Landry is finally starting to become the player that they thought that they drafted at a Boston College a few years ago. He had 11.5 sacks. So honestly, if we're looking at that defensive line, I'll take Harold Landry over how Von Miller and Leonard Floyd's playing right now. Harold Landry was playing good. And then Danico Autry. So they had 3 guys that were able to dominate. You
don't think experience plays a factor though? Because I understand the argument from the standpoint that at said moment, Harold Landry's playing better, but we can't forget what we've seen Von Miller do in the Super Bowl.
But this isn't the same Von Miller, and that's one thing we have to accept. Just like a TV show that's gone, is never coming back. Like not having another season. No more Sopranos, no more The Wire. Like it's not coming. Those shows aren't coming back. The old Von Miller that we seen in 2015, he's gone.
That's true, but I think in a vacuum in one game, I mean,
okay. So how about this? Let me ask you it from this standpoint. Zach Taylor, who I think has done a phenomenal job at making adjustments, and even when you watch the Kansas City game, he did a lot of he moved the line a lot. He moved the pocket a lot to kind of free Joe Burrow up, give him some time. Did a lot of misdirection. All right, a lot of RPOs. Do you think that he's gonna let that defensive line just tee off on Joe Burrow?
I mean, I would hope not, and that's why I think, you know, and we'll get into this in a minute, some of our X factors. That's why I think that you'll see Joe Mixon play a huge role in this game. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I think Joe Mixon will have over 125, 150 all-purpose yards between him rushing and him getting a lot of quick check downs and making some moves receiving out of the backfield. I think that's where you'll see Joe Mixon really get into the mix, right? And that's why I think it's going to be a close game, but I don't know. I just think that defensive front, and I just think Aaron Donald is going to seal his legacy in this game. You know,
we'll see. But then once again, you're playing a Cincinnati team that's so resilient, and you can't tell them that they're not winning this football. They're resilient, and to me, I talked about this show on the Break Room Breakdown. Battle-tested teams more often than not win the game. Right, it's not always about the team that's the prettiest or they got the most big names. It's the teams that are battle tested that went through shit. And Cincinnati went through shit. They put that and they're just a tough blue collar team. And they're at a place, and I think they have an understanding that this opportunity doesn't come along very often. And they've adopted the mindset of Joe Burrow just coming into these games like, fuck it, we're gonna win this. And that's what I love about this. That's what I love about Joe Burrow as a quarterback. He has no doubt in his mind that they're going to win this football game. He had no doubt in his mind that they were going to win against Kansas City, right? He told the kicker, I want to say that last drive, he said, I think he told Tyler Boyd, one of the receivers, he said, hey, after they're driving on Kansas City, he said, yeah, after we score, we're going for 2. Right?
And I agree with that. Like, I don't think you can give Joe Burrow enough credit for the way he has almost single-handedly changed the culture of the Cincinnati Bengals. Like, as you said, they go into the game and they go into games now and they expect to win. Going into the Super Bowl game, you can't tell me that they don't expect to win this game. And I think a lot of that comes from the confidence and the moxie of Joe Burrow. But with that being said, I mean, they are still a relatively young team. And the Rams, talk about being battle tested. The Rams are battle tested.
You know are they really? Are they really battle tested? Watch this. How about this? Let's look at their road. Let's look at their road to make it to the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
So Cincinnati comes in round 1. A lot of people will hate this argument, but Las Vegas, even though they weren't a super talented team, obviously they lost some guys. They were a very gritty team, and they kept in my opinion, a very talented Chargers team out of the playoffs.
They did.
So you play them round 1. Granted, you're going to win, but they're not going to lay down for you at all. This isn't going to be an easy game by any means, right? This team's going to fight you tooth and nail. They beat this team, a very scrappy team. Then the next week they have to play the number 1 seed. And to me, if Cincinnati doesn't beat Tennessee, we could easily be having this conversation Tennessee's playing today, because I thought that they were that good defensively, right? And that they were the number 1 seed for a reason.
You could say the same thing about Tampa Bay, though.
No, whoa. And the difference between Tampa Bay and you talk about the Tennessee, Tampa Bay was riddled with injuries, and you could tell that I knew that they would be able to make some adjustments, but you could tell how much they missed Chris Godwin watching that game. Even watching them against the Eagles.
That's true, but Tom Brady was still Brady, and he still showed who he was in the second half. And I'll say this: I think if Tampa Bay would have completed that comeback, came out of that game as the winner, I think they still would have been the favorite in every game moving forward. Even with the loss of Chris Godwin, even with the whole Antonio Brown saga, I think they still would have probably been considered the favorites moving forward. Like they literally beat the defending champions. And granted, injuries did tear them apart.
I think for me, I just feel like, and then obviously we watched the 49ers game, and I think we can honestly say that the 49ers kind of threw that one away. And once Jacquizz Tart dropped that interception, I said, "Oh, that's you
just knew it was over."
Oh, it was over.
And Jimmy Garoppolo, the type of quarterback that'll just go win a game for you. He can maybe not lose the game, but Jimmy G can't go win a game for you.
Right? No. That's not the type of quarterback, the type of player that he is. Right? Nothing against him. I still love him. I think he does good for what they need. But I think for me, when I look at Cincinnati's role and LA's role, it feels more like Cincinnati had to take everything that they ever got. Whereas the Rams, they caught a couple of really good breaks to kind of help get them there. And I think, and this, you can call me crazy, I think Cincinnati beat better teams. I think Kansas City and Tennessee could arguably be better than San Fran and Tampa Bay. I definitely would have took Kansas City over that Tampa Bay team. I would have took Kansas City over that San Francisco team. So I think that they beat too far. Look, watch it. Cincinnati beat the defending AFC champs.
The Rams beat the defending Super Bowl champs.
They beat the hobbled defending Super Bowl champs.
I mean, okay. If that's the case, you can say Cincinnati caught a Tennessee team with Derrick Henry just getting back, just really getting back acclimated, getting back into the game. You know what I'm saying?
But here's the difference. We've seen, first of all, the Tampa Bay team this year wasn't the Tampa Bay team of last year coming to the playoffs, regardless of health. They weren't playing.
They weren't, but I think if they won the game, they would have been favored in every game moving forward.
And I don't disagree with you, but I think we can go ahead and say coming to this playoffs, you didn't have the most confidence in that Tampa Bay team because the truth is they had just dropped a goose egg against they had a goose egg against the Saints not even 2 to 3 weeks prior, and they had a few really bad losses down the stretch. Washington being one of them, right? Who smacked them.
And then they had to battle back to beat the Jets after that whole Antonio Brown situation.
Exactly. So it wasn't like Tampa Bay was just playing really good ball. Tennessee was really playing. They were winning games without Derrick Henry, and a few. As a matter of fact, Tennessee beat the Rams without Derrick Henry in convincing fashion. So that should show you how good of a football team that they are.
They did.
All right. So I think just to kind of go back and everything come full circle, I like both teams. I just feel like Cincinnati is the more battle-tested ball club.
Well, I don't know. I guess we disagree that slightly, but
different just a little bit.
A little bit, but once again, I mean, this is going to be a spectacular game. Like I'm really, really excited to see Joe Burrow in this game. And there's so many different. I think there's so many different storylines. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I think that you're looking at a game that could possibly affect legacies as far as with Aaron Donald, and then also as far as with Matt Stafford. You know, because we've seen Matt Stafford all these years in Detroit, a guy who was considered a good quarterback in a bad situation. So now he has a chance to really kind of change the narrative about who he was as a starting quarterback in this league if he can get a Super Bowl ring under his belt. I think for Aaron Donald, I think a lot of people already consider him to be, one of the greatest defensive players to ever play this game. But I think a Super Bowl ring would really put him in that conversation. Like, okay, is he the best? It'll put him in that conversation with a Deion Sanders, with a Lawrence Taylor, with a Derrick Brooks, and any of those other defensive guys you see. So, I mean, it's gonna be a real career-defining game. Same with Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow has a chance to be the only person in history to win the Heisman, win a national championship, be drafted number 1, and win a Super Bowl.
Right. All in 3 years, by the way.
All in 3 years.
All in 3 years. So, but yeah, we actually got our first guest. All right, we got my boy Troy Massive and his brother Justin, right, who I had the pleasure of serving with in the military. Let's get him up in here.
Let's do it.
What's going on, fellas?
going on, man?
All right, let's see.
What's going on, guys? How you feeling?
I remute yourself just a little bit. I don't know. Somebody got me on speaker?
Nah. You on my iPod.
You say I'm in your AirPods?
Yeah.
Make sure that ain't me.
Yeah, is it working out?
Y'all, how it sound now?
Let's see, can you hear me?
Yeah,
All right,
I hear you.
I think I can just hear the back end of myself. We'll work through it.
All right, cool.
All right, so hey man, Super Bowl Sunday. You know, obviously before we get into some other stuff, I want to hear y'all's input. What are y'all predictions on the game? And are y'all throwing a little party? What y'all got going on?
I'm about to go over with the family a little bit. I ain't been too much watching football, this year, but I'm hoping for, to see the Rams win. I want to see Odell go ahead and get a ring, man. So that's why I'm there with it.
Your boy OBJ.
Right.
What you got, Justin?
One thing, my boy. You gotta stop calling my government like that, please, man.
Oh, my bad, man. But hey, look. Hey,
I need you to relax a little bit on the government for me, my man.
Oh, I'm using your legitimate handle.
Nah.
Jeff.
Just call me Lefty, man. Just call me Lefty, man. Yeah,
I got you.
Nah, but honestly, man, I really want Joe to get it because I just want to see something that rare. I just want to see something that rare in sports, man. I like to see like little Cinderella stories, so I want to see Joe pull it out, man. At such a young age and so young in his career, I like to see him pull it out.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no.
Okay, so we got one for the Rams and one for the Panthers.
Yeah, for sure.
So obviously we got we can talk football all day, but y'all playing a whole different game, right? Y'all in the music game,
Right.
So I got the pleasure of listening to Troy's music. Listen. See. I was telling your brother, man. I said, he got something. He got something going on, and I think you haven't heard something like that coming out of the South in a while. So tell us about what you're working on right now. What's the next project? What's next for you?
Right now I'm working on just got finished up working on this project called Creme de la Creme. Coming out March 11th. So we just tied up the loose ends on that. Got a couple features on it. It's real different from my last project. I wanted to take a more luxury style approach to it. So yeah, man, that's kind of like what we've been on for probably the past year now.
Mm-hmm. And how long have you been making music?
I've been doing music. It's been part of my life. It's been part of my life, all my life, really. But I really started. I really picked it up after I actually, quit football in high school. Well, I got kicked off the team, but you know what I'm saying. But but I got kicked off. I got kicked off because of grades. I was a dog on the field. You know what I'm saying. So it just came, naturally after that. Say again.
You say that it definitely could have been you out here in the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah. Yeah, if I wanted to do it, I could have did it, man. I ain't gonna talk too much on it, man. But yeah.
Word. Now talk your talk, bro. Talk your talk.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I know Lefty's an athlete too.
Oh
Nah,
yeah, man.
I seen him, you know, I seen him hoop a little bit. You know.
Yeah. You know, that was my niche right there. I ain't gonna sit here and say I could have went to the NBA because I couldn't have went to the NBA, honestly. Not tall enough, and really didn't care enough about the sport neither. Honestly, I was good though, but nah, I was hood good. I was good in the hood, man. I can go with the best in the hood, but nah, I wasn't elite, man. Wasn't nobody checking for me like that. Not on the court, man. They were checking for me, but not on the court, man. You feel me? Yeah.
Hey, well, Lefty, you know me. You know I'm a 3-and-D guy.
Yeah,
Oh, man.
yeah, I know it.
We said we weren't gonna lie to our people now. That's what we said now, bro.
Hey, you know me on the court.
I don't, but I nah, you good people though. You the truth. You took care of folks though. Oh God, you did that.
That's what you do. You leave it at that now, Kenny. All right.
Oh man.
Take care of the people, all right? You stay off them courts now. Don't hurt nobody.
Don't hurt yourself. That would be me to worry about.
So how about this? All right, so Troy, if you was to pick one song out your catalog that you feel like best defines you, the song you would push out to the public, one song, what song would that be?
On my catalog, man, it's a lot to choose from.
For real.
I put like my whole life in all my music, so you know everything come from real conversation. So I mean, if I gotta choose one that best defines me, I might have to say Cut Different.
Cut Different.
It's on Stay Gold. Yeah, might have to say Cut Different. It just go, you know, it's a lot of, it give you a lot of insight about me, and about my whole thought process, and you know, I touch on different subjects in that song.
Can I say something I think defines a man?
Throw it out.
Hey man, y'all ain't heard it yet, but it'll make sense to him with it coming from me. I'm gonna say Pusha T's. He has this song called Pusha T's, and I give you basically it's talking about his work ethic, but he using an analogy, a different analogy without using it directly. And I'll say that because he's a hard working motherfucker, man. I can curse on here, Kenny.
You good to go, man. I made this platform for y'all boys,
bro.
All right. Yeah. So I'm finna go ahead and cut. I'm just playing. I ain't finna let them off. But nah, but for real, he a hard working motherfucker, man. And that song basically is like him slapping everybody in the face with like, hey man, like y'all might not know this, but I've been working. I've been busy, man. I'm busy. You feel me? That's what we do. We stay busy. That's what we live by. So,
well, you know, my favorite song is Trip. And look, and Troy, I hope don't get mad at me. I had to give it the test. You want to know what the test is?
What's the test?
I told a female, I said, hey, this is my demo tape. What you think? She said, you're really good.
Amen.
You say you scored that night, huh?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Hey, man, that's what it's all about, dude.
Nah, man. like I said, we just wanted to bring you guys on the show and definitely hear y'all's thoughts on the Super Bowl, but even more so, just kind of put Troy Massive out to the public. Anybody that's probably seen my profile, I've promoted quite a few times, and really talented artist. All right, you guys have a project about to drop next, right? When does that drop?
March 11th.
March 11th. What's it gonna be called?
Creme de la Creme.
Creme de la Creme.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And then where can it be streamed at and everything, bro? Where can they find it?
Wherever you listen to music at, it'll be everywhere. So,
Everything.
Yes, sir.
And
Let me just say,
and while we got y'all, man, y'all go back and listen to Stay Gold while y'all waiting on Creme de la Creme.
Oh yeah, I'm still on Stay Gold. Yeah, that's what I said. I'm still on Stay Gold. They get gym play.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So most definitely, but yeah, my brothers. Like I said, I want to get y'all on here and show some love really quick. But hey, if y'all can tune in for the rest of the pre-show, we'll be on for the next 2 hours. And then let's stay connected and we'll talk some more in the future.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. Thank you for having us, man. For sure.
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you.
yeah, we definitely appreciate you guys, man. We'll see what happens with this Super Bowl, man. Much love.
All right, man. Y'all be safe out here and stay dangerous, man.
Same.
All right, now.
All right. All right. So as y'all can see, that was my boy Lefty, Troy Massive. I was calling Lefty by his real name because I surfed with him. So it was funny because when I said it, he was looking out the window. He was like, and I was like, dang, what's bothering him?
Come on, man. I know he didn't tell me by my government name, man. And for those tuning in who don't know, me and Kenneth Tiberius Clark, you know what I'm saying? We're both former service members. We both served in the service. I did you did 8 active too, right?
I did, 8.5.
Yeah, we both did 8 active in the Navy, and that's actually where we met, and we both just recognized each other's love for him maybe more so the game of football, me the game of basketball, but just our genuine love for sports in general. And the same way you see us talking back and forth, and the same way you see the banter that we have now, this is something that we've done 1,000,001 times, deploy late at night, and we up all night just talking sports, man. And this is something we truly love. We have a passion for. So we figured, hey, why not link up and just share that passion with the world, man? So here we are.
Hey, look, and I'll be honest. Some of y'all, if y'all see how much we talk sports in the military instead of working, y'all be like, "Yo, these are people that's protecting our country."
Man, look, man, if they only knew, okay.
If y'all only knew, y'all be like,
and I'm gonna leave it at
that. Yeah. So most definitely. So
hold on, before you go on, I gotta ask real quick. Now, what you got in your cup?
I got juice.
Oh, okay, yeah. And I got soda.
Juice. Oh, okay.
Right,
yeah. I'm not am I the only person that drinks orange juice out of a cup like this?
Man, I guess I'm the only one that drinks soda out of a glass like this too. So, cheers.
Hey, cheers. So, before our next guest come on, let's talk X Factors.
Okay.
All right. You breezed over Joe Mixon, which was really good. But what are some X factors in the game? Maybe even from the Rams side. Who do you have?
So from the Rams side, I mean, obviously there's one huge X factor, and I think it's going to be OBJ. Just seeing, and we talked about his matchup with what we're assuming Eli Apple is going to probably try to take him the majority of the game based on the way he's been talking, but I'm thinking that they're probably going to slide the double team over to Cooper Kupp. So, I mean, I think there'll be opportunities there, not just for OBJ, but even for Van Jefferson as well. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I think the opportunities will be there for him. From the Cincinnati side, I mentioned Joe Mixon. I'm going to mention another X factor, and I think we we talked about it, a little earlier. The Cincinnati Bengals offensive line against that LA Rams, I want to call them the St. Louis Rams so bad, bro, against the LA Rams defensive front. Can they hold up? Can they give Joe Burrow enough time? Because I think if they can hold up against that Rams defensive front, I think Cincinnati could win this game, because I mean they have the weapons all across the field, you know what I'm saying? And I think that's what I'm really basing my pick on, just more so the fact that I just think the Rams defensive front will make the difference in this game. But yeah, I think for me, those are really my two. Oh, and one more X factor. I'm really interested to see how, and we've been talking about Eli Apple and God knows weapons on the Rams end. I'm really interested to see exactly how the Rams are going to go about guarding the Bengals' weapons. Mm-hmm. I'm interested to see, will we see Jalen Ramsey, stick with Jamar Chase? Will we see them double Jamar Chase and maybe Jalen Ramsey sticks with T. Higgins? I'm just really interested to see how they're gonna do this. You still got Tyler Boyd there in the mix, like we said earlier. You still got Uzomah in the mix. So I think I don't know if that's necessarily an X factor, but I think that's one of the matchups, one of the things to really look forward to in this game is exactly from the opening drive, exactly how are they going to come out and how are they going to defend these offensive weapons for the Bengals from the skill positions.
I'll tell you who's an X factor who not many people have been talking about, and that's Mike Hilton. He's easily probably been the best slot corner this year, and he's a big reason for the success that they've had, whether it be getting turnovers. He's done some things on the blitzing end as well, but they use him so well. So I'm interested to see how they match him up with Cooper Kupp. Maybe put a shade of safety over the top and stuff like. Because make no mistake about this, Cooper Kupp he's the guy you have to worry about, and Cooper Kupp is exactly. Cooper Kupp is playing at such a high level, and that's why when people kind of throw OBJ's name out, I kind of have to tell them to pump the brakes. Cooper Kupp is playing so well that teams are like, "Hey, fuck it, we'll leave OBJ 1-on-1." They're worried about Cooper Kupp.
But I think that's dangerous because if nowhere, I think as the season has gone on, I think that we've seen him be better and better, and we've seen him become more and more of a critical part of their offense. I think last week was his first 100-yard game with them, and then if nothing else, he's been probably their best weapon in the red zone. He has about 6 or 7 touchdowns since he's been with the team.
Mm-hmm. Well, no, I get that, and I knew it wasn't going to be a seamless transition because at the end of the day, Sean McVay was going to have to have a better understanding of what type of player he was, and he was going to have to implement him into their scheme. Because when he came, people thought that Robert Woods got hurt, he was just going to fit into that scheme. I said no. Sean McVay builds his scheme around the strengths and weaknesses of his players, and that scheme, their passing game was built around what Robert Woods could do well and what Cooper Kupp could do well. So obviously it took some weeks, but now we're seeing it pay dividends. They kind of went through, they kind of took a couple black eyes and stuff like that, and a couple bad performances. But what it was is he just needed to find a way to understand what type of player OBJ is, what plays work best for him and stuff like that. So I agree. Like I said, he definitely has gotten better. Do I think that he's playing and performing at the level that he once was? No, because I've always been big on Odell Beckham. I think that his future, I still think possibly his best days are ahead of him.
And we've discussed numerous times that talent-wise, he's up there with the greats as far as the talent that he has. Yeah,
talent-wise, and he's a very well-rounded receiver. Now that being said, I think that it's going to be who draws them. If it's Chidobe Awuzie, I think they'll be okay. If it's Eli Apple, we'll see. That's the big question mark. But I think that this secondary and this team is so what they've had to deal with. I mean, let's be honest. They played against A.J. Brown, which A.J. Brown did have a big game, but A.J. Brown is A.J. Brown. And then, next week you draw speedsters and Tyreek Hill and Mecole Hardman. and Travis Kelce whenever you split him out wide. So they've had some tough draws. So I think this is the best way I can say it when looking at the Rams and the Bengals. I think the Bengals are more prepared to play the Rams than the Rams are to play the Bengals. I don't think the Rams have played an explosive offense in the playoffs. They haven't seen anybody with an offense this explosive from a passing game standpoint. And I think that you look at Cincinnati.
I mean, once again, I kind of go back to the Tampa Bay game.
Don't you say Tampa Bay? Tampa Bay, watch this. Tampa Bay
and they see
watch this.
Tampa Bay offense passed their way back into the game.
Tampa Bay didn't have 3 number 1 wide receivers that you have to worry about. They did not, and they didn't have 3 number 1 wide receivers, and they didn't have a top 5 back.
And you consider Joe Mixon a top 5 back in the league?
Yes, 100% I do. I think Joe Mixon's a top 5 back. I think Joe Mixon has been good for a while now. I think masses are starting to realize he's been good for a while. And I think when he was drafted, Maurice Jones-Drew said this. He's on record saying this. He said Joe Mixon is the best running back in this draft. And that was the draft with Dalvin Cook.
He had the trouble that kind of made him fall in that draft, though. Otherwise, he'd have been a first-round guy.
Yeah, he'd have been a top. Probably could have snuck in and been a top 15 guy, top 15, top 20 guy. So Joe Mixon's probably playing some of his best ball, very well rounded. He can do everything you need him to do. And then once again, you got Samaje Perine, his Oklahoma teammate, and dude's just holding it down as like their third down back, and you're really seeing them do some good things. So I think Cincinnati is more prepared to play LA than LA is prepared to play Cincinnati, because I think I tell people if they come into this game on some Hollywood shit and they're like, oh, okay, we got these stuff, we're just gonna play our game. No, they're gonna get punched in the mouth. Cincinnati's is a tough, scrappy team.
We might have to at a later date, we might have to revisit that Joe Mixon top 5 running back in the league discussion. And that's no slight against Joe Mixon. I mean, I do think that he's one of the more underrated backs in the league, but I'm not sure if I would have him in my top 5. That may be something we'll have to revisit.
Okay, we got 5 minutes. Who's in your top 5?
Well, see, that's what I was saying. Now I have to think. I mean, obviously, Derrick Henry, Jonathan Taylor.
Okay.
Let's see. Where do I go from here? I know you're going to disagree with this one. But I like Aaron Jones.
I mean, you called it. I'm gonna disagree with that one. I don't think Aaron Jones is better than Joe Mixon.
I think they do a lot of the same things. What I will say is that Aaron Jones, you can argue that Aaron Jones has been a product of the system and of the quarterback and whatnot that's been there, but I think they do a lot of the same things. I think when healthy, Christian McCaffrey's better.
If was a fifth.
I mean, I think even when both guys were healthy, Christian McCaffrey was better. Christian just happened to be, hurt majority of the season. But I think when both guys were healthy, Christian McCaffrey was better.
I mean, while I can agree with that, I mean, once again, Carolina's selling. They're trading him. They're getting rid of him.
Of McCaffrey?
Yeah, they're getting rid of McCaffrey. They're taking trade talks, everything. They're getting rid of that guy.
You know what? I guess that just shows you the lifespan of running backs in the NFL and just how expendable they are. Because we're talking about a guy who, year before last, I believe, I think that was year before last. We're talking about a 1,000-yard rush, 1,000-yard receiver. And now we're talking about he possibly on a trade block. That just shows you how expendable these running backs are.
Well, if you're getting paid big money and you can't stay healthy and you can't stay on the field, then I mean it sucks. Obviously you want guys. So my biggest indictment, I had to realize this about a lot of running backs. They're great and they make exciting plays, but some of it's in spurts, and you're not going to get 15, 16 games out of some of these guys. Joe Mixon, I think you will. I think he's he may not have the quote unquote sexiest game, but I think that he does a lot of things. He does a lot of the little things well. He's very steady. Whereas you look at Alvin Kamara, who I love too. Alvin Kamara can't stay healthy. He's not a full time. You're not going to give him full time carries. He's always had to split carries since he was at Tennessee, and he battles. He battles staying on the field. Christian McCaffrey included, Dalvin Cook included, right? Leonard Fournette.
I was just going to say, when healthy, I'm taking Dalvin Cook over him.
Dalvin Cook's never healthy though. He's always missed. He's guaranteed to miss he's guaranteed to miss at least 3 games a year. Yeah. I don't like that in my running back. And I think the difference is I don't think you can build an offense around Dalvin Cook. I think he's a good piece, but I don't think you can build an offense around Dalvin Cook.
I think you can, but I think when you mention the health factor, the availability factor,
that's big, man.
That is something that slows you down. But I think you can. I think Dalvin Cook, I think if he's healthy, I think Dalvin Cook is a guy who you can get 25, 30 touches a game, whether it be rushing the ball or catching the ball out the backfield. If he's healthy. I just feel like his body just hasn't been able to hold up to the NFL game.
Well, here's the thing. If
I think he got hurt. If I'm not mistaken, didn't he get hurt in college as well?
Yeah, he's an injury prone guy. That's why people were picking. That's why people was picking up. That's why people was picking up Alexander Mattison in fantasy because they knew he was gonna play.
And then too, and here's another thing that I will say. When you see a guy like Alexander Mattison who's able to come in spurts and have success, I think he's kind of good at what he does too, because he's also able to catch a few passes out the backfield. But also, when you see stuff like that happens, it also makes you think, okay, is it the guy or is it, is this a great system? Can you plug this guy anywhere else and he be just as productive?
I mean, I agree. It's easy to see things that way, and we see a lot of examples of running backs that play or players that play in the same system. And if the backup guy has success, it makes you think, oh, okay, it's the system and not the player. So once again, this is not me saying, I'm not speaking down on anything that Dalvin Cook or some of these running backs offer talent wise. I'm just looking at if you can't be on the field full time, at least 15, 16 games, and you're always nursing an injury, then to me it's kind of hard. Another guy I had to kind of pull out of my top 5. Nick Chubb, he can't stay healthy. Nick Chubb cannot stay healthy. Can't stay healthy. He can't stay healthy. He cannot stay healthy.
So a lot of your Joe Mixon top 5 running back argument has to do with health and availability.
That means something. What's the greatest ability? Availability.
Okay. All right. If he can't stay healthy, okay. From that standpoint, I can understand that. I can understand that. But I think all things in total, all guys healthy, I think we can name 5 running backs better.
Okay, well, once again, if it was a 5th, Christian McCaffrey hasn't played. Dalvin Cook's guaranteed to miss 3 to 4 games a year. Nick Chubb's guaranteed to miss 3 to 4, maybe 5, 6 games a year, right? And the list goes on. But we got Asaph and Justin in the building. These dudes are phenomenal from the Peace of Mind podcast. They're hilarious. I literally go on their IG and sometimes just binge and watch all their TikTok videos, and they're like really, really creative and really comedic. So let's get them in here.
Yeah, let's get it going.
Hey,
what's going
on, man? Nice intro.
What's going on, fellas?
Man, how you doing?
What's going on, guys? How y'all feeling?
Hey, man.
I had your reaction when he said that Mixon was top 5 as well. I thought that was a little crazy for a second. And I don't think it serves Mixon great either. That it only through injury he gets into the top 5.
Oh, what?
There's no pride in that.
So we agree there. You know what I'm saying? It's tough to say top 5. It's tough to say top 5. Stretch.
So you okay? So you guys are hitting it off, huh?
Yeah. I wrote down 5. I wrote down Henry, Taylor, Cook, Kamara, and C-Mac. And I guess health, I can't argue against the health, but they're better at football when they play.
I didn't even think about Kamara.
Well, what did I tell you?
Kamara counts anymore, to be honest.
What did I tell you before we move on to the questions? Alvin Kamara, as much as we love him, has never been a full-time back. He's always split carries. He's always missed games, and he's never rushed for 1,000 yards ever.
But
Ever.
Yeah, he's so versatile, though, man.
You know what he
And they
brings
use
up.
him in the passing game so much too. He's literally their offense.
And they use Joe Mixon in the passing game. Watch again. And this
He's
isn't
not the focal point of the offense.
Tiberius. Come on. Is Mixon on Kamara's level as a receiver in any capacity?
I think one of the biggest things of Joe Mixon coming out in that draft was his receiving ability. They may not use him as much because they have the weapons.
That's true.
But Joe Mixon is very capable. But you may not see.
And Kamara's still a better pass catcher at the backfield.
He's a generational pass catching back. That entrenches him. It entrenches him.
Well, okay, we'll come back to that. We'll come back. And I was going to drop another. Look, no, you're good. You're good. I was going to drop another name, but I don't want to seem like a homer, so we're just going to jump into the questions.
Was he still in your top 5? I was going to ask you, was that guy still in your top 5?
Well, once again, we'll definitely get back to that. So, I mean, Swan, you want to kick us off?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How y'all feeling, guys?
I'm feeling good. Happy to be here.
Not bad, man. I'm feeling happy to be here too. I'm excited for this, bro. It's gonna be a fun time, I think, man. It's gonna be a real fun time.
Thank you. So, me and Kenneth, we actually talked about our X factors in this game. So we were just wondering, as far as from you guys' perspective, who do you guys see as X factors from both the Rams and the Cincinnati Bengals?
Yo, Jay, you want to kick it off, man? I'll let you take it first.
I'll let Asif take it.
All right. So I'll start with the Bengals first. All right. I'm going to go on the Bengals offensive side of the ball. I think, so have you mentioned it before? The running backs for the Bengals are going to be real key in this game. Joe Mixon and Pirine. I think the Rams pass rush is going to get home a lot. So Burrow's going to have to get that ball out of his hands really, really quickly. And like you said, Tiberius, Mixon's a great pass catching back. And we just saw Pirine take a screen to the house against the Chiefs in the last game before, right? So they're capable of taking it, getting to the second level and making guys miss. And I think the Rams' second level, their linebacking core, is probably the weakest unit on that defense. Right. And with that, if Burrow gets that ball out of his hands quickly and make the couple of guys miss, you can they're going to have a really, really tough time stopping these guys. So on the Bengals side, I'm picking the Bengals running backs as the X factor for the Bengals. And then for the Rams, I'm picking one specific player. I'm not going for a unit, but a guy that not a lot of people talk about, a talented guy, Leonard Floyd. I think.
Okay.
Now, I know you give me the raised eyebrow, but Leonard Floyd was a top 10 pick. He was a top 10 pick in the draft when he was drafted by the Bears. He's a guy that can get by the Bears, and he is a guy that can get home. You have Von Miller, you got Aaron Donald, you have Robinson on that line. A lot of the Bengals' attention is going to go to those guys. It has to. You can't not double Aaron Donald. You can't not look at Von Miller. So who's going to have the one-on-one matchup? It's going to be Leonard Floyd. And if I think Leonard Floyd's going to have a huge game. I think he's going to be a guy that not a lot of people expect they're going to come in and just bring in high motor. He's going to come in. He had 9.5 sacks this year. Not the greatest numbers, but a guy that can get home. And I think he's going to get home a couple times in this game. And if with that, you have that guy coming home, all of a sudden you have to shift the line towards that side. Then you got Von Miller one-on-one, Aaron Donald up the middle. If they can't block him, they're not winning this game. And I think it's more likely than not that the Rams are going to win this game. They're not going to be able to block the Rams' defensive line. So those are my X factors for this game.
Man, I'm saying to see eye to eye on this.
That's what I'm saying, man.
So here's for a lot of the same reasons you just said for the Bengals. I'm looking at Tyler Boyd as a guy. A lot of people look at Higgins and they look at Jamar Chase, and this is kind of like the new Bengals receiving core. But Tyler Boyd has been there, built in that offense the entire time. He has a very distinct role. And with the pass rush that we're going to see, and with Ramsey on the outside, and as you said, Asif, in terms of their unit, the linebackers on the Rams is their weakest point. A lot of times, maybe those guys are going to get matched up onto Boyd over the middle. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking Boyd, he has to step up because I think he's going to be getting much more targets than we've been accustomed to him seeing. So Boyd on the side of the Bengals, that's where I'm at. In the Rams, I feel like it's kind of cheap to pick the quarterback as the guy who's most important. But I'm going Stafford because those safeties Von Bell and Simmons over there. That's a big group right there. And we saw the dropped interception from Stafford. They will take advantage of opportunities that Stafford gives them. And Stafford, with all of his talent, and I love Stafford, will force a throw. And he's going to give you one game that you could come down with. And Stafford in a game like this, I think can't do it. I don't think he'll get away with it because I think that it's going to be high scoring. So.
And I'm glad, and just to let you guys know, I'm glad that I could get somebody to agree with me, so I didn't feel like I was, it was just me against the world here, right? Because I've been telling people for weeks, I'm like, Matthew Stafford, as good as he's been playing, he will turn the ball over. That's just part of his.
He'll chuck it up,
right? He'll chuck it up. So, no, you guys have both very good points, but Asif, kind of what you said about the Rams defensive line. I think we need to go ahead and give some respect on the other end.
Yeah,
because
it wasn't. Defensive line's been getting home too, man.
They've been getting home.
Yeah.
And honestly, they sacked Patrick Mahomes 4 times. But if Patrick Mahomes isn't the athlete that he is, I remember I messaged Ira, I messaged Swan, and I said, man, he's underrated as an athlete and as a scrambler. If he's not that type of guy, they might sack him 7-8 times. Because they were getting home that much.
He had to run a lot. He had to run a lot in that game.
He had to run a lot in that game. So I think Trey Hendrickson is playing at an all-pro level. I mean, he had 14 sacks. Yeah. So he's the best edge in this game. I think, and I told before, I don't think you guys were following us earlier, but I told Swan, I said, I take Trey Hendrickson and Sam Hubbard over Von Miller and right now. I think that they're playing better ball from an edge standpoint. I really do. And the truth is you can't. I know it because you like Von Miller.
No, I got you.
Yeah,
it's not as crazy as it sounds. I get it. It's just like this is the greatest. This is one of the best nose tackles we've ever seen play the game. The guy constantly gets double and triple teamed, and then Von Miller, a Hall of Fame pass rush. It's not just those two guys you have to look at when it comes to the defensive line. It's a whole unit that you have to look at. And the Bengals defensive line, as great as they've been playing, they're not as talented and they're not as good as the Rams defensive line.
No, they're not. They're not as. I think they don't have the depth. That's where I think hurts them. They don't have a lot of depth.
Yeah, that's fair.
But if you get those guys, first of all, they're tried and true. Because I'm like, Jesus Christ, they playing with the same 4 guys all game, watching them against Kansas City. I'm like, they're not tired. Right,
yeah, that's true.
So I think that's where it could get them into some trouble. But I mean, I'll tell you this: if they rush the passer the same way they did against Kansas City, who I think Kansas City might have a slightly better offensive line than the Rams have, I think it could be a long day for Matthew Stafford. I could see them getting to him about 3 to 4 times, and I could see them forcing a few turnovers. So, so that's where I'm at with it. I think that on the edges, I think that the Bengals are better, but maybe as a whole. I think that the Rams have the better unit, and obviously Aaron Donald puts them over the top.
Yeah,
but I will ask you guys this. You guys can tell me what you believe about the game. If you guys agree with me on this. We talked about the Bengals. We talked about the secondaries. Obviously, everybody is going gaga for Jalen Ramsey, rightfully so. I said, and I stand on this. I think as a collective, the Bengals have a better secondary. I think it's looking at the Rams' safeties are just so bad, And so that's kind of where I'm at. I look at
bring Eric Weddle back for the playoffs.
Right.
So here's my thing with Ramsey is that because I would expect that he's going to be matched up with Chase, I'm just looking at him, and it's the way that the Bengals run through Chase. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like Stafford, at the end of the day, I look at the safeties, and then I look at Hilton on the Bengals as like guys that are really going to make a big play for them. But my thing is, I want to see if Burrow, and I believe he will, can adjust to the to having to go away from Chase, which is why I think Ramsey does have the biggest impact of the players in the secondary. I do get your point though about the unit.
About the unit, right? I mean, but do you think? And I like what Jamar Chase said. He says, "Hey, I don't play defense. Jalen Ramsey has to guard me."
That's true. Well, listen, if there's one thing about the Bengals, they're coming in with a lot of swagger and a lot of confidence, man. They are not shy about it. You have to stop them. There's no doubt about it. You have to stop them. But I think
that's from Joe Burrow, man.
No doubt.
Joe Burrow has really
also changed
to win.
No doubt. He changes the whole culture of that whole franchise. And back to your defensive back question, I look at the Rams as more of a cohesive, like I think the Bengals get home because they have a great pass rush and all that stuff. But the Rams, you have to look at their back four in conjunction with the pressure that they get with their defensive line, because Jalen Ramsey's obviously going to shut down, or at least for the most part, shut down your number one receiver for most of the game, right? He may let up a few plays every now and then, but that just happens. It's football, right? But how long will Joe Burrow actually have to throw the ball down the field? I'm saying
That's a good question.
I don't think he's going to have more than 2 or 3 seconds on average for the whole game to throw the ball. So,
well, I see them moving the pocket quite a bit. I think they're going to move the pocket quite a bit, and I think that's why, you know, even you mentioned earlier, Asaph, the running backs are so pivotal in this game, right? So I think that, you know, getting Joe Mixon going and Samaje Perine is going to be imperative for the Bengals to kind of slow down that Rams pass rush. But you know, I think that they're going to take some shots. I don't think they're just going to leave Jamar Chase out there. I really, personally, I see Jamar Chase winning a few of those battles. And I think he's going to make.
He's too good not to. No,
he's
doubt.
Too good not to, right?
He's
so,
too good not to.
But without, you know, my thing about putting Jalen Ramsey on Jamar Chase, I think it's risky because you expose your whole other secondary to T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd. So I think there's going to be some time. There's going to be some moments where you might need to put Jalen Ramsey on Tyler Boyd, right? You might have to put him on T. Higgins. T. Higgins has he's a 6'4" guy. He's very similar. Granted, they both went to Clemson. He's like Mike Williams. They have a big catching radius. They're possession guys. They can snatch the ball up and get it. Tyler Boyd is just a consummate pro. He's a route runner. He's their chain mover. On third down, a lot of times they have plays drawn up for Tyler Boyd. So my thing is, in pivotal moments when you look at, okay, when you're going to use these guys, you may use T. Higgins a little closer to the red zone. But even then, once you got Jamar Chase, you can do that either. Do you really want to expose all your whole secondary to these other guys, just kind of leave them out there to dry and waste Jalen Ramsey on one player when you can derail Revis and move him around in key moments? That's my thing.
I think it kind of speaks to something I said earlier, too, in the fact that we might see the Rams double Jamar Chase and maybe put Ramsey on T. Higgins and maybe just take their chances with Tyler Boyd, you know?
Right. Yeah, because he's not going to be he's not a burner. He's not the type of receiver that's going to burn you down the field like that. He's just like you said, a chain move.
He's a chain mover.
The Bengals are explosive, so they say we'd rather just be Tyler Boyd underneath. Let's see if Burrow's going to make a mistake as compared. I'll tell you, if I was a defensive coordinator, I would do what Swan just said. I would probably double him and take Ramsey on it because Higgins is a problem. You have Jamar Chase, but Higgins is a problem. Like if there was Jamar Chase, like we'd probably be talking about him as one of the better receivers as well. So,
yeah, no, 100% agree. So, yeah, I mean that is my. You guys got some good X factors. Maybe because I'm pulling for Cincy so hard.
Yeah, that's my boy Jay. Jay's doing the same.
Not rooting for Cincy.
But I think the Rams will win. I want the Rams to win this game. Stop it. I'm already.
Well, that kind of goes into the next question I was going to ask you guys, which is give me a prediction as far as who wins this game, and if you can, give me a score. And I'm gonna throw a caveat in there. Give me a prediction on who wins. Give me a score, and give me a Super Bowl MVP.
So you take this one, I'll set
okay. All right. Well, I got the Rams winning this game. I just think they're top to bottom better than the Bengals, and as great of a run as the Bengals have been on, as far as a talent perspective, I don't think they've ran into a team like the Los Angeles Rams. I think on the show, I picked the score to be 27-21. And part of that prediction is due to the boxes that I put down for the Super Bowl today. But I'm going to go with 27-21 with the Rams. And as far as the MVP goes, I think I'm going to go with Matt Stafford just because they're not going to win this game unless Matt Stafford plays well. Like you said, Tiberius. And if I don't want to compare him to Jimmy G, but like when Jimmy G doesn't turn the ball over, the Niners win, right? If Matt Stafford plays a clean game, I don't know how you don't pick the Rams. Like, there's no way that Matt Stafford has a clean game and plays really well and the Rams lose. It's just not going to happen. So you guys, the Cincinnati Bengals prediction of them winning is predicated on if Matt Stafford has a bad game. And I don't think that's going to happen because I think the Rams can not only run the ball, but they're just as creative in like the screen game and the passing game and getting their backs involved, just like any other team in the NFL. So I got the Rams winning this game, and I think that pass rush for the Rams is going to get home more so than not. against the Bengals, because Jeffrey Simmons against the Titans had like 6 sacks. Christian Jones got to Joe Burrow, but Joe Burrow escaped, and we saw him. He can move around and stuff like that, but it wasn't a matter of him not getting there, right? Aaron Donald, you think Aaron Donald's going to let the guy go? You think Von Miller's not going to get home? Leonard Floyd, a talented player, not going to get home. Sean Robinson, another guy who could play. You don't think he's going to get? I think that he's going to get home. And if you put Joe Burrow on his back, that's the one game. The Titans were the one game where Joe Burrow got sacked like 7 times and he won. All the other games, if you look at their losses in the previous part of the year, Bears, I forget off the top of my head. I think the Browns, they got home with him.
My Bears did beat them. I just had to put it out there.
Yeah.
You said what? Say it again.
I said my Bears did beat Cincinnati earlier this season. I just had to throw that out there.
That's what I'm saying. It's because they got home to him, right? They put Burrow in the dirt.
Khalil was still there. Was getting home. Robert Quinn was getting home. We were getting pressure. Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think that unit for the Rams is gonna get home. And I just don't see how the Bengals stop that pass rush. So I'm picking the Rams to win this game.
Interesting.
Oh man. Oh man. You know, I hate how you reduce the fact that we just picked the Bengals, because have you ever heard the saying, those who don't learn from history are doomed to repeat it? Yeah. That's you right now. Joe Burrow has not lost a playoff game in his football career since the year 2014 in a high school championship game. He's 7-0. Asif, you tell me anyone who has that.
I'm not denying that.
That was a game, by the way. I looked into it earlier. He lost 56-52 and threw like 7 touchdowns. Okay, so even in a loss, my thing is, I think sometimes there's teams that come through in history, and mine's off a gut feeling, because I agree with you, Asif. I think if you look on paper, you look at players. Honestly, even if you look at coaches, X's, O's, the Rams present better to me. You know what I'm saying? They look better. But sometimes there's teams in NFL history that break the rules and are Cinderella teams. And there's just a feeling I can't talk myself out of picking the Bengals, no matter how hard I've tried. So I've been sticking with the Bengals because of it. I'm not betting against Joe Burrow. I can't do it.
And what was your score?
Oh, I would say 27-24, because that also, like Asif, I'm going to go with, falls within my making money and gambling on the Super Bowl. So if it's 27-24, I could make some good money. So,
I'll tell you what, if it comes down to a close game like that where you need a kick to be made, the Bengals got the better kicker in this game. So
clearly,
I don't think it's going to come down to a kicking game. I think I think the Rams are just going to be able to score more than the Bengals. So.
Well, it's funny because... Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Super Bowl MVP. Listen, if the Bengals win, it's going to have to be Burrow, because it's the only way they win is because Burrow would be Burrow, which is what I think is going to happen. Right. The only way they win is going to be Burrow playing out of his mind. So definitely Burrow. I apologize. I actually didn't address the majority of the question. I just started talking about Burrow and got lost in it, honestly.
He's good, bro.
Definitely Burrow. I apologize. I actually didn't.
So, you said it's me?
What's that?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Who's the MVP for you?
I picked Matt Stafford. I said I think Matt Stafford is going to have a clean game today. I don't think the moment's too big for him, and I think Sean McVay is going to call a game where it makes it really easy for Matt Stafford to move the ball without chucking it down the field. So I got Matt Stafford winning MVP. I think that, again, like Justin said, that's the only way the Rams are going to be winning this game, is if Matt Stafford has a clean game, because like he said, for some reason, the Bengals are that Cinderella team where if they need to win the game, they somehow win the game. Whether it comes down to Patrick Mahomes choking, whether it comes down to Ryan Tannehill throwing 3 interceptions, or it comes down to Derek Carr not being able to convert a 4th and goal or a 4th down, like at the 10-yard line. So
I don't like that.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about that one.
You know why Mahomes choked? The first time in his life, he was scared of the man on the other sideline. That's what happened.
Mahomes was scared of him on the other side. There's no doubt about that. You saw it in the second half. He threw 50 yards in the second half.
He knew he couldn't deal with him. It is what it is.
Knew he couldn't deal with it, bro. They were down 20. They were down 21-3, bro. Chill. Let's pump the brakes a little bit. Right?
I was going to say we kind of agree in our predictions. I think you had 27-21 Rams. I had 27-23 Rams. Ironically, I think the Rams are favored by 4 points. But I had 27-23 Rams, and I think that Matt Stafford as well is going to win the MVP. However, I think that the real story will be the play of the Rams defensive front.
Yeah, I agree.
And you know what? It's funny. You know, I said it earlier in the show when we first started, but I said this to Ira. We talked about this on Rooted in Sports community on Twitter Spaces. We went through every position group and we came to the conclusion that actually, despite what everyone says, the Bengals may have the more complete roster if you go position by position by position. But the Rams have these bigger names that's more enticing. Right. Like, you know, so like I said, I don't want to go through the whole thing again, but there are a few positions where quite a few positions that I would take the Bengals over the Rams. And obviously you mentioned kicker. I said, man, they have a better kicker, which in big games like this is very important.
It's important.
It's important. So, I mean, honestly, I got 34-28 Bengals. I think high scoring game. I think Cincinnati's going to score. And I think the Rams are going to score. I think there's going to be some back and forth there, but this is going to say a lot rest on the quarterback's shoulders. I mean, I guess I can't pick anybody else. Joe Burrow's going to be the MVP. Don't be surprised if he has a humongous game. Similar to what maybe not national championship great, but likely not. But I think he can have a pretty big game. What I'm interested to see is what receiver. We don't know what receiver is going to have a big game. It could easily be Jamar Chase. You know, Jamar Chase could have a great game despite Jalen Ramsey covering him, which I think is going to cement his. Because honestly, I wanted to put him in my top 5, but I'm like, he's a rookie, so I kind of had to pull back on that a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that you see him play sometimes, and he's really putting himself into that conversation as a player. So there's a lot riding on this for both teams. Obviously, Cincinnati's the younger team, but they're young, but they don't act like they're young. They don't act like they don't belong.
No, and like I think a lot of it has to do with some of the schools that a lot of the younger offensive players are from. Clemson, LSU. I mean,
they're winners.
They're winners. They're playing in big games all the time. Mm-hmm. So you saw them when it came down to like final moments of games. They look like they've been there before, and they don't panic. And a lot of it does fall, like you said earlier in the episode, on Joe Burrow. Calm, cool, collected. Always, hey, we're playing football. The game didn't change all of a sudden from 12 minutes left in the game to 2 minutes left in the game now, right? It's still the same game. You just got to go out there and execute. And they execute at a high level when it comes down the stretch. And, you know, and you're right. It's a talented group. And that's what makes this game so exciting to watch, because you look at matchups and both teams match up with each other so well.
Very well.
One's weakness is another strength, and the other's weakness is another strength. So it's going to be a really, really fun game, I think, to watch, man. I'm excited for this one.
And I will push back on something you said. I think you say the Bengals aren't ready for the Rams. I don't think the Rams have played a team like the Bengals all postseason. And he tried to throw out Tampa Bay, but I think that, you know, you're playing a Cincinnati team with we can easily say 3 number 1 wide receivers, right? Guys that have all performed at a high level at different points. So you're going to have to find a way to match up with these guys.
No doubt.
You have Joe Mixon, fringe, a pseudo top 5 back.
Right.
Okay. All right. Take that.
He's talented, though.
I said, fringe, right?
Yeah, right. He's legit, though. He's legit, though.
6 and 7, right? So I think the dynamics change. I think the dynamics change, and they're going to have to defend this team differently than they've had to defend anybody the entire postseason. So it's going to be it's so many exciting things going into this game. And I also watched the interview with Tony Dungy, and he was asked, does he think that Sean McVay, having lost the Super Bowl a few years ago, gives him the upper hand? And Tony Dungy answered in kind. He said, I had a conversation with Zach Taylor, and he said Zach Taylor was on that coaching staff. So if Sean McVay has any, and he was the offensive coordinator, if Sean McVay has any type of advantage, it's not really that big, because Zach Taylor was there to see mistakes being made, to see, you know, a lot of things that could have been done better. So I love it. I love what Cincinnati's doing. I love what the Rams are doing. You know, even though I'm not a big fan of like superstar teams, I hate it. I think it's bad for sport. But I think Cincinnati, what they're doing and what they're building, I think this is the football we grew up watching. I think that it's like football in its truest form. I think it's good for the sport.
Yeah, I think so too, and I think this is a Super Bowl that we don't want to take for granted because no one at the beginning of the season would have predicted that this would have been the matchup. And
Never.
It's very rare that we're not seeing guys that are amongst the top 3 quarterbacks in football representing one of the conferences in this game. So, again, this is as good as a Super Bowl gets, in my opinion. I agree with you there.
So I guess I gotta go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I was gonna segue just a little bit. Clark, did you have anything else on the Super Bowl? 'Cause I was gonna segue just a little bit.
Go ahead and segue.
Okay, well, just a segue, just a tad, since we got you guys on. First of all, let me say that ironically, just last night, I was looking at some of you guys' videos and stuff, and let me start by saying that you guys are hilarious, like comedians.
Appreciate it.
With that being said, and then correct me if I'm wrong. If I'm correct, we got one Eagles fan and one Colts fan. So just a segue, just a tad. I wanted to hear you guys' viewpoints on the seasons that both of you guys' teams had, the Eagles and the Colts. And I wanted to hear, what do you guys think both teams could do moving forward to be successful? And I know the Eagles, both teams being successful and just them moving forward in the playoffs and possibly getting themselves into this big game themselves.
Justin, do you want me to take this one first, so I let you have the floor after? Because I know you got a lot to say about this one.
I don't. I'm like a broken record. I'll let you go, Asif, because I heard some big news around the Eagles. Maybe, right?
It's possible. I mean, we're gonna kind of wait and see on that, right? But like you said, I am an Eagles fan, and going into the season, I was not expecting much from this team. At the end of last year, I'm like, this is a rebuilding stage. I'd be happy if we won like 6 or 7 games and stuff like that. We ended up winning 9 games and we got into the wild card position, right? So that was really nice to see. And we started to figure out a formula in the second half of the season that was indicative of winning, and that was running the ball. And our defense is a true unit. And that was something that I really love to see. And as far as things that we can improve on, I think we have to find a way to either make Jalen Hurts a better passer. So whatever we have to do as far as film study, mechanics, anything regarding him to make him a better thrower of the ball is going to be super, super important, because I think some of the games that we lost were due to his inability sometimes to push the ball down the field, or his inconsistencies to push the ball down the field. And then also adjusting the wide receiver position, because we have 2 guys on that unit that I despise with all of my heart. We have J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, maybe the worst football player I've ever seen in my life. I don't care. You don't draft a wide receiver for him to block. I don't care what anyone tells you. You don't draft a wide receiver to go block in the running game. You catch the damn ball as a wide receiver. And this guy's got, bricks for hands. Guy can't catch a damn thing. Has too much popcorn before the game. Whatever you want to say about him. Can't catch a damn ball. And then it goes to Jalen Reagor. This brother, I mean, my God, we could have had Justin Jefferson instead of Jalen Reagor. But no, we got too cute. We got too cute, and we took Jalen Reagor. And for some reason, we're still sticking behind this guy, even though you can tell he clearly does not want to be there, and the city of Philadelphia does not want him there. So just to help that brother out, to help his career out, and to help the city of Philadelphia out, the city of brotherly love, mind you, get rid of Jalen Reagor. Just do him a favor. Ship him somewhere else. Cut him. Do whatever you got to do. Let him go somewhere else so that he can have a career, you know what I'm saying? And then at that point, it's just a matter of developing the offensive line, because I think our offensive line is a little older, and we could address some things on the defensive side, like the linebacking core. We could address the defensive back and maybe add some depth on the defensive line, but that's something that we can do through the draft, and we have a lot of draft capital. I'm pretty excited to see what we're going to do going forward in terms of addressing that in the offseason. So,
3 picks in the top 20, am I mistaken?
I believe. What's up?
I was going to say, before you jump in, Justin, I just want to know, do you think that Hurts is the answer at quarterback moving forward in the future? And do you really trust him to lead you to the playoffs and maybe even to the Super Bowl in the future? Do you see him really being the answer there?
I think so. The key word that you said in that statement was lead. And there's no doubt, if there's anything about Jalen Hurts that we can all agree upon,
He's a
it's that
leader.
he's a damn leader. And he
Oh,
can galvanize the rest of the guys in that locker room. Even this year, you saw the inconsistencies that he had in the passing game, but there was no doubt in the Eagles locker room who the quarterback was going to be. It was Jalen Hurts, and they all galvanized behind him and support him. And like other quarterbacks who are in the Super Bowl right now, like Joe Burrow, Jalen Hurts has been in big games before too, right? Albeit at Alabama, and him mainly running the ball, but Jalen Hurts has been in big moments and he has played on the big stage. So I don't think if we get to that point, he's not going to be someone who's going to fold under pressure, right? And this guy is coachable. He takes criticism well. It's just a matter of him being a consistent passer. And I think as far as him being the guy, I think it might still be too early to tell. I think we'll have a lot more answers at the end of this year or this upcoming season. Because if he doesn't improve as a passer, then you have to pull the trigger now, or else you're going to be in quarterback purgatory where you're always going to be this 9-8 or 500 team looking to get to the next level, and you can't, right? So as of right now, I'm going to say yes, that he can take us to the next level. It's just a matter of letting him actually develop and getting the pieces around him that he needs.
Now,
and I know we have a Cowboy fan, but that division is there to be had.
That's what I'm saying. And even the Cowboys, they're another team that's like, they're up and down too. As talented as they are, they're probably one of the most talented teams in football. They're up and down too. And their quarterback's shaky sometimes. Their running back, Ezekiel Elliott, as great as he is, a great of a career that he's had, he's really inconsistent due to his age. And we don't know what's going on with the wide receiver position now. Michael Gallup's got hurt, right? CeeDee Lamb's up and down. Amari Cooper, sometimes he shows up, sometimes he doesn't. And then that defensive side of the ball, as talented as they are, they can be had. And like you said earlier, the division is really, really weak. I don't know what the Giants are going to do. I don't think they're going to do anything. And then the Washington Commanders, another terrible move by Washington.
It's a horrendous name.
Worst name ever.
It's so typical of Washington too. Typical Washington making a move like that. But I digress. But they're also a team that's kind of like in purgatory too. They don't know what they're going to do at quarterback and what they're going to do with their roster. So like you said, the Eagles, they're in a good spot. They have a lot of young talent, and I think we can make that next step even next year. It just depends on what we address in the draft and what we got going on in free agency. So I'm pretty excited as an Eagles fan to see what's to come.
How do you feel about Nick Sirianni?
At first, I was not about him at all. He's starting to grow on me. That second half of the year, he started to actually figure out I have to coach based on the players that I have as opposed to implementing a philosophy that I think will win games. He's starting to say, this is what suits my team. This is what I'm going to do. And it's all started by running the ball because before it took him forever to run it more than 15 times a game. And I would yell and pound the desk every episode with Justin about just give it to the guy in the backfield and just let that offensive line work because it's one of the better units in football. And he's pushing the right buttons and he's starting to get a real hold of like taking command of the room and stuff like that. So I think Lurie and Roseman got it right. I'm excited to see what is to be what's to come forward with him and that offense because that's the only thing that's missing. I think it's getting that passing game in order. Once we have that, then we're a problem. Then we're going to be a real problem because we can play all facets of the game. So.
Yeah, well, and it's funny because he mentions I'm a Cowboys fan. I'm actually excited for Philly, and I'm excited for the division as a whole. I don't think the NFC East is no longer, at least not this year. They weren't the worst division in football anymore. Right. You can't put two teams in the playoffs and be considered terrible.
I agree.
Right.
And the Eagles are definitely moving in the right direction.
Yeah,
so
they're trending.
They're
trending upwards. I think obviously the biggest thing, and you said it right. You know, can they put more pieces around Jalen Hurts? Can they help him? Can they help him unlock his ability as a passer? Right? Is he going to work on that part of his game, which I think he will? He's a blue collar, hardworking type of player. Look at some of the things he did at Oklahoma. So no, I think you guys got a lot of things going. You guys got Gannon back, the defensive coordinator. I know he was a head coach candidate.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So things are trending in the right direction. I think I'm just excited to see what you guys do with these draft picks because you got a lot of blue chip pass rushers in the top 15. Right? You could probably go grab an offensive lineman, and hell, you could probably go grab a DB or a linebacker. And sew things up.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. I really think we got.
Let me hear about these Colts, though.
What's up?
Go ahead.
He said-
I'm sorry. Finish the statement. I'm sorry.
No. I was just agreeing with him. I'm excited to see what they're going to do in the draft. We need linebackers. We need a lot of stuff. We need a lot of depth, and we have a lot of draft capital to do it. So I'm excited to see what's going to happen. So.
Most definitely. So look, I guess now it's time to hear from the play. I think it's time to hear about the playoff team that didn't make the playoffs. But watch this. But they are. But no, they are. That's what they are. They're a playoff team. That didn't make the Chargers included.
Well,
Yeah, true.
that's from a man who has a team that made the playoffs that shouldn't have been there, but it's okay. It's fine. I'll take the jam. Listen,
Sounds like a hater to me.
What?
Sounds like a hater to me.
Yeah, well, okay. All right. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to give you some credit, Asif. Part of the reason the Eagles found success and you think they're in a good position going forward is because they ripped off the Band-Aid that is Carson Wentz at quarterback. So I just saw the news today. I'm ecstatic. I don't like being a hater because, like, I look at organizations like the Jets and stuff like that. They run everybody out of town, and I don't like it because I think it's bad for the team. But sometimes you got to do it. Carson Wentz has got to go if the Indianapolis is going to get better. He's got to go. And it's not that he wouldn't be our best option next season. The way I view it, and this is the big problem with Carson Wentz to me, is that he views himself as like a cornerstone franchise player and deserves and like he feels like he deserves all the treatment that comes with it. When in actuality, he's a bridge type quarterback.
Damn.
The problem is that if that
Life
type
comes
of
at you
production,
fast.
you can't
Oh
expect.
man,
What's up?
Oh no, I said life comes at you fast. But go ahead.
you
Continue.
said life comes at you fast.
Yeah, so it's kind of one of those things where I think personally that we could get the same production out of a guy who's going to accept the fact that we're not looking at this as an 8 to 10 year plan. And even if we only have it for the next 2 or 3 years, we could get the same production and not have to deal with the constant headlines about like what's good with the quarterback situation and do they like him there? Do they think he's the guy? I think it's a distraction for the team as a whole. And then, of course, just some of the mistakes he makes are unacceptable. So I look at Wentz. I think everything – I hate to simplify the game like this. I think everything will fall into place once he's not the quarterback of the team anymore because I think we have a great GM and a great coach.
Actually, a guy that you guys had that I liked. If I were you guys, I'd call Brissett in for a cup of coffee.
We should have never gotten rid of him. I was fully, before we had the show, I've always thought that Brissett got screwed. Yeah. I thought he had earned the right to get the opportunity to see if he would be the starter of the team because they were 5-2 with a win over the Chiefs that season before he hurt his knee and there were some injuries around him. I thought he deserved the chance, to be 100% honest with you.
And they love him.
What are some? If you aren't confident in Carson Wentz moving forward, what are some quarterback options that you would like to see the Colts, really take a look at? We discussed the Jacoby Brissett, which I agree. I do think Jacoby kind of got a raw deal. I feel like if nothing else, they should have kept him and maybe had some sort of quarterback competition and give him an opportunity. But what are some quarterback options that you would like to see the Colts really take a look at?
Well, I'll go for the pipe dream first. I think they should just push all their chips to the middle of the table and try to get Russell Wilson if he's available. You already gave up the first rounder for Carson. You look at the deal that the Rams made for Stafford. They're in the Super Bowl because they were aggressive at that position. They gave up the first-round picks. They gave up Goff. They gave up a third-round pick. I think if the Colts were to do something similar and package Wentz so the Seahawks have some sort of a plan there with their next 2 first-rounders, is it getting rid of 3 first-rounders? Sure, but I think Russell Wilson I would love to see. But in terms of just guys we could pick up, I view Teddy Bridgewater as like a beautiful that just fits in. You know what I'm saying? He's going to be stable at the position.
He'll protect the ball.
Franchise quarterback type. What's up?
He'll protect the football.
He'll protect the football. He's not going to make those silly decisions.
Another Jacoby Brissett.
What's up?
I think kind of similar to Jacoby Brissett. Another Jacoby Brissett.
Kind of similar. Listen, you lose a little bit over the top. You know what I'm saying? But realistically, right now, we don't have the personnel in place to be stretching the field. T.Y. is a shell of himself. Paris Campbell can't stay on. We have Pittman. And, the deep threats, we don't really have them. So I think Bridgewater would do well in the offense. So he's kind of the guy that if they're going to go the free agent route, I would like to see him. And I do love Fitzpatrick. He will turn the ball over, but he'll be fun to watch. At least I'll enjoy watching him. I'm not expecting anything. If you get Fitzpatrick, I'll just enjoy rooting for him.
For 1 year, not long term, though, huh?
Yeah, no. But that's the beauty. You know what I'm saying? We already know what it is. My thing with Carson is that it's kind of like this. Us fans watching know that it's not the answer, but there's this complication in the fact that he was a former number 1 pick, and he thinks he's kind of a franchise guy. They went all in for him, so I just want someone that doesn't bring the drama and the expectation right now that Wentz brings. I think we need to build from the ground up at the position, personally.
And I think the sad part about that situation is, even though I kind of had a disdain for Carson Wentz because we had the Dak Prescott Carson Wentz argument for years, I still wanted to see him be successful. He's still very talented, and I think that they put him in the right position to show up in big moments. And when he didn't do that, you saw towards the end of the season Frank Reich really handling him with kid gloves and kind of simplifying everything for him. But the truth is, if you have a running back like Jonathan Taylor and arguably a top 2, top 3 offensive line and a top 3 defense, you're going to need to – there's going to come a time where, hey, rent's due.
You're going to have to make a play. That's right.
You're going to have to make a play. And I think that's the reason. That's the reason why they didn't make the playoffs. You can honestly solely say that it's because Carson Wentz. When the defense had a down day, if Jonathan Taylor has a down day, you as a quarterback, can you make 3 or 4 extra great passes?
That's right.
And unfortunately, he wasn't able to do that. But
the problem with him is that physically he is capable of doing that.
Very capable,
right?
It makes it so hard. It makes it so hard because you watch him, and on some days you're like, I love this fucking guy. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Then you have other days that pop up, and it's just, it becomes tough to watch. And I think it's just a rip off the Band-Aid, because I think by not getting rid of him, it's delaying the inevitable, because it's the huge elephant in the room right now. Is that this is always going to be a question mark with Carson. I personally, if the game has not slowed down, because sometimes it just looks like he's just making a decision off of panic impulse. If the game hasn't slowed down at this point in his career, he's drafted in 2015?
Yep, it's not
16.
It hasn't slowed down. I mean, when's it going to happen? So
16, yeah. No, I agree. I agree 100%. But I think this, obviously we're watching the Super Bowl with Joe Burrow, who we can all agree is not the most physically talented quarterback by any means. But what I try to explain to people all the time is that playing football period, but mainly playing quarterback, which I believe is the most difficult position in sports. Fight me. I think intangibles are more important than the physical. The physical matters, but you need to have strong intangibles. And I think at the end of the day, I think that Carson Wentz is an immensely – he could have been a generational talent as a player, beautiful arm, big kid, athletic, but – he just wasn't so tough. He wasn't tough enough up here, and he wasn't resilient enough to kind of overcome some things to really make things work. And he had 2 chances in 2 blue collar cities. You go from Philly, then you go to Indy, and you can't figure it out. It really is. It's sad. It's unfortunate. Maybe he can come back us up. He can come back up Dak Prescott.
Yeah, there you go.
I love it. Hey, I'm gonna tell you guys this: if that shit happens, I'll tell you what though. Go ahead.
I'll tell you what. In this next coming season, Dak had better produce, and they better make a playoff run. Otherwise, you're gonna see somebody coming in to challenge him. And $75 million man, I don't care how much they paid him. He better
a rough year for you
this season, or you're gonna find somebody else coming in and challenge him.
Watch this. You take away the Philly game. Let's throw away the Philly game, the last Philly game they had. Dak Prescott threw for 32 touchdowns and 11 interceptions, and had over 4,000 yards passing. Now, did he have some times where he struggled? Yes, but and we can. I guess we can break that down. I don't know if you guys want. I don't know if y'all want me to start talking about these Cowboys now. I don't want to.
This is one of those instances where stats can lie, because you look at him statistically and you say, okay, he wasn't that bad. But that's why a lot of times I like to try to judge guys by the eye test, and just watching them in game, watching by the eye test. I mean, I think that he's had a really similar problem as the years past, in that he get, and I know you've heard this a lot. He gets a lot of empty calories. He gets a lot of empty stats. They come out slow, lethargical. You can blame it on coaching, whether it be Jason Garrett or Mike McCarthy, where they come out slow and lethargical, and then you see him playing catch up and picking it up in the third, fourth quarters.
Okay. So I respect that. Now I think that in years past, I know the 2019 season was the main year that they talked about that, and I've debunked that many a times over because it was probably only like 3 or 4 games where you could really use that argument. Another story for another day. But when looking at this season, I think for Dak Prescott, I think one, he did have his struggles, but I think a lot of it was tied to what was going on with Kellen Moore, and I think Kellen Moore is still maturing as a coach. You know, I had this argument Saturday on Rooted in Sports live chat. Towards the end of the season, Kellen Moore was look. Imagine this is a platter. This is a plate. CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, defensive coordinators. Here, you can have them. He's just giving them. He just give them to him. He didn't. You kind of saw down the stretch, Kellen Moore didn't have an understanding of how to get the ball in the hands of his best players. He didn't feature anybody, and this is something I talked about on the Break Room Breakdown. When you get in the postseason, you need to have an offensive identity. You need to have guys that are featured. You need to have guys that are featured so much that defenses play you and they're like, "Fuck, we have to worry about this person." When you play the Rams, Sean McVay doesn't give a flying fuck. You're gonna have to worry about Cooper Kupp. He's gonna Cooper Kupp you to death.
No doubt.
Right? Now, in comparison, when you look at Dallas, it was kind of like early in the season, Kellen Moore kind of wanted to do this offense with no identity that could do so many things well. Okay, well, guess what? When you take away some options, it just doesn't look as attractive. So when Dallas couldn't run the football anymore, then Kellen Moore is like, oh, shit, I got to scheme these wide receivers open now because we don't have a running game. And he just wasn't able to do that. So that's why you saw some games where Dak Prescott is forced to generate offense through Cedric Wilson, who was the number 4 receiver, or Dalton Schultz, who's the tight end. So he kind of got, in some ways, while Dak Prescott struggled, he kind of got left out to dry more times than not by his offensive coordinator. Whereas you watch other elite teams, Andy Reid doesn't leave Patrick Mahomes out to dry. He's moving Tyreek Hill all over that scheme. Look, when you play Kansas City, is there any question in your mind that you're going to get that Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill are getting the ball?
Right. Yeah, you know who you have to stop going into that game. You know who you have to stop. And
teams still can't stop them.
Right.
right. So I think it's a variety of things. I think once again, I'm not about absolving Dak Prescott of any blame. Do I think he's head and shoulders off of a lot of guys in the league? I think he is. I think if you put him on a lot of teams, I think if you put him on San Fran, hey, if you put him on a coach, watch this. There are teams that will happily take Dak Prescott and probably have a deep playoff run.
But I think he's a fringe top 10 quarterback.
He's not a fringe top 10 quarterback. He's a top 8 quarterback. You can't name 10 better quarterbacks than Dak Prescott.
You definitely can't.
I'd have to sit down and think about it, but I probably agree with you. I don't think you can name 10 guys better than Dak
can't name
Prescott.
10 guys better than Dak Prescott. And watch this. And if you want to throw Deshaun Watson in there, I want you to remember Deshaun Watson started 16 games and went 4-12.
With the Houston,
listen. Oh, wait. Before you go on, when you get done,
watch this. There's no elite quarterback that can get away. There's no elite quarterback in this game that can get away with starting 16 games and going 4-12. If Dak Prescott did that, he would get crucified. I don't care what team he had around him.
I mean, that's just part of the game. Had more.
You're elite. No.
If you put Deshaun Watson in that system, he's not 4-12.
Once again, Deshaun Watson started 16 games and went 4-12. I can't make that up.
If you put Dak in Houston, he'd have been 2-14.
That's what I'm saying, bro.
I don't believe that. It wasn't. Shit, Houston this year was beating teams. Houston this year beat the Chargers.
They played really tough, and I hate that they let David go, but that's another story for another day, another podcast. They did play extremely tough.
Right. But yeah, so that's my thing on my Cowboys. I'm all about passing blame around, but trust me, you're talking about Dak Prescott. I think he's
It's not just
I
him.
think-
It's not just
Yeah,
him.
it's not just him.
It's
I
not
think you.
that
yeah.
coaching.
It's not-
He's
it's
had a
not.
stellar group of coaches in his career, mind you. His coaching staff has not been good. Like
Yeah,
he's
McCarthy's
had a
a
rough
tough
deal
man
with
to be dealt.
coaching.
I bet he had such a sigh of relief when Garrett was released, and then they just brought in Mike McCarthy, and it was like,
Yeah. Damn.
I tell people this. I watch Mike McCarthy coach sometimes, and every time I do, especially some of the dumbest decisions he makes, it makes me respect Aaron Rodgers even more.
Oh, geez, yeah, I know, right?
I'm like, how did you win a Super Bowl with him?
it's winning
But-
in spite of him. It's winning in spite of McCarthy.
In spite of McCarthy, and I think that you kind of saw that in the end. Kyle Shanahan's a great coach, you know. So when and so the biggest argument I was using for Dak Prescott, and adjustments matter, is we talk about quarterback play. Well, when the 49ers beat Dallas, you watch Kyle Shanahan scheme up layup throws for Jimmy Garoppolo.
Right.
And we know Jimmy Garoppolo is not great. We like him,
Mm-hmm.
right?
So
So
it was a generous way to put that.
Yeah.
exactly, it is very generous. So
Yeah.
And he
I
does
think
have a Swiss Army knife in Debo Samuel.
Right.
He does. Watch this. One other thing that kind of adds to my argument, what Kyle Shanahan said before that game. He said, "We're going to give the ball to Debo Samuel." This isn't a mystery.
Yeah, okay.
We're going to give the ball to Debo Samuel. So
And in your situation, you want to see them do something similar with CeeDee Lamb, not necessarily Amari Cooper.
Well, here's the thing. I don't care who you use. Grant, I mean, obviously, ideally, you would want it to be one of those guys. I don't care who it is, but somebody has to be the identity.
Right.
When Scott Linehan was in Dallas, to me, he had a 5-play playbook: dive, screen, slant, comeback route. Literally, that was his playbook. But Scott Linehan said, by hook or crook, I'm going to Ezekiel Elliott you to death, and he did.
Yeah.
Right? Ezekiel Elliott, that offense was built around him. But there was an identity there. So when offenses played Dallas, they had to be like, okay, well, we have to worry about Ezekiel Elliott. Well, with Kellen Moore, there's no identity. It's kind of like whatever works.
He's like trying to please everybody almost. That's what it looks like. He's just trying to make everybody happy, and you can't do that in football. If you're gonna do that, then you have to be like the Patriots, where it's like, okay, we're either gonna run the ball 40 times down your throat based on the matchup, or we're gonna throw it to this guy all day because you can't cover him. They don't do that. You're right about that.
Exactly. So that's the big thing. But once again, I think that there's definitely strides to still be made. Watch this. One thing I can go to sleep at night as a Cowboys fan is that I can say that Dak Prescott's the best quarterback in his draft class.
You're probably right about that.
I outlasted that one because I'm telling you, I done had a lot of arguments with Rams fans and Eagles fans. But once again, I'm excited for the NFL as a whole, even outside of my Cowboys. I want to see Washington. People hate me for this. I argue. Other Cowboys fans get mad at me about this. I want to see Washington get a good quarterback. I wanted to see Gardner Minshew go to Washington. I would have loved to see him start for Washington.
We discussed how you feel about Gardner Minshew and
Gardner
your
Minshew
affinity.
Gardner Minshew is a starter in this league.
He could be a starter in this league.
I love it.
I have to agree with that. I do. I'd have to agree with that.
He's a starter. And look, the argument me and this guy had.
Oh, boy, what you got?
So he got mad because
me and him, when Gardner Minshew was in Jacksonville, me and him would go at it, but I had to concede, man. I really had to concede, man. Gardner Minshew is a starting quarterback in this league.
I told him at that time, and now I think I can say that I'm correct, that I would take Gardner Minshew over Cam Newton. And this was like a year and a half, 2 years ago.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe more than we were in San Diego, bro.
A year and a half, 2 years ago, I would have said you were nuts. I would have said you were nuts, honestly, because I was a big
Cam's been done, bro. Unfortunately,
Cam's been done for years.
Cam's been cooked for a minute. And he was great, obviously.
Yeah.
But that was me. I was still holding on to the Cam I seen, and I think I was thinking more with my heart instead of my head.
Well, hell,
and so I was just.
You're a fan. I never forgave Cam Newton for what he did. I don't know. I've never been big on Cam Newton, to be honest with you.
I was never a big Cam Newton guy.
I didn't like the.
You say you never forgave him for when?
Oh, you're talking about the I'm back.
Like a 1 yard touchdown. It's one thing, Cam Newton. We all know you could do that. You know what I'm saying? Like this is what you do, Cam. Yeah. It's not like you came out and started a game and won. So.
I tell you what I didn't like from Cam. And this is going back
to that Super Bowl against Denver, and it was a fumble, and he didn't dive for that ball. Like, bro, this is the end all be all. This is the biggest game of your career to date. Like, bro, get in there, get in the trenches, go dive for that ball. You know, and I ain't gonna lie, that I was a Cam Newton fan. They really rubbed me the wrong way, and he honestly hasn't been nowhere near that Cam Newton ever since. And I had to concede that to Kenny. I argued for him, but right now, I mean, I definitely take Gardner Minshew ahead of Cam Newton, and that's crazy.
That is crazy how football works.
I was the guy who argued that he was on a Hall of Fame clip, and now don't I look stupid?
I don't think he was. I think maybe after that 2015 season, but I tell people this, and this is not to disrespect the man. Outside of 2015, he was never a top 10 quarterback.
He can't throw on an NFL level. Of course, Duke can't throw. It is what it is. You know, I just think the same thing about Jalen Hurts. By the way, I don't think he throws. I don't think he throws well at all.
You can say that about Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, we're also critical of Lamar Jackson too.
Yeah,
right. So you gotta be able to.
Lamar is so elite though, and like just in terms of we've never seen anything like. I mean, like he puts Mike Vick to shame in terms of the way he's able to run as a quarterback. So that has value beyond the arm.
And this is an argument that me and Kenny have, in the fact that I know I'm not gonna say he's traditional, but he likes to see his quarterbacks really be successful in the pocket. And me and him have this argument because I always tell him, like, in today's game, you have to take into effect what quarterbacks are able to do with their feet. And Lamar Jackson is one of those guys. One argument that me and him have all the time is that I think that eventually Michael Vick is going to get into the Hall of Fame. He disagrees.
I don't think he will.
But I think you have to take into effect. I think you have to take into effect the impact that he had on the game. I think as much as you want to say about his passing numbers, you have to take into effect what he did with his feet. And I think eventually Michael Vick is going to get into the Hall of Fame.
I'm gonna tell you this. Watch this. There was never a time. Yeah, I'll say it. There was never a time where Michael Vick was a top 3 quarterback in the NFL.
I think there's, mind you though, I agree with Swan over here on this one. I think he deserves to be in as well because I think there's something to be said. This is the NFL Hall of Fame, not football. It's not about just the player. It's about what you meant to the league.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Michael Vick, you can't tell, in my opinion, you can't tell the story of the league, where it was, where it got to, without including Michael Vick when he came onto the team because I think he changed the entire course of the NFL.
So that's a good argument. That's a good argument. But for me, when you start talking about letting guys in the Hall of Fame, to me, I look at the line. It's like a waiting list, you know.
Sure.
And there are some guys ahead of him. Watch this. I have a lot of friends that are Atlanta fans. They'll crucify me for this.
Yep.
I don't think we even need to talk about Michael Vick getting into the Hall of Fame before Matt Ryan gets in the Hall of Fame. Matt Ryan.
It's not a bad point.
Right. Matt Ryan's probably Matt Ryan. Yeah,
he's a better quarterback.
I can't argue with
We talk about that when Matt Ryan's.
I can't argue with that.
I mean, how long's Vic been eligible?
For some time. For some time.
Yeah,
No. Let me stop. Yeah.
How many years? What is it, like 3-4 years?
His last stop was with the Jets, right? As everyone's last stop.
That was like 2015, 2016, somewhere up in there.
And
I think it's going to be hard to argue Matt Ryan's numbers and the fact that he has a Super Bowl appearance and an MVP. So
because there's a lot of guys who are not in the Hall of Fame that like you could say,
you gotta.
But then that's the same thing with the Devin Hester discussion that's going on.
He made it in. Did he make it in first ballot?
Oh, don't get me started. Don't get me started.
This.
I don't care. Devin Hester should have been a Hall of Famer. He should be in.
We've never seen for years. Like him. He's predicated around the kick returner.
First of all, this class, I've lost all respect for the Pro Football Hall of Fame committee. DeMarcus Ware and Jared Allen were left off of. They weren't first.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Watch this. Yeah. They let Bryant Young. Watch this. I said, what politics?
Bryant Young and
Richard. They let Bryant Young and Richard Seymour in over Jared Allen. Even though I like Richard Seymour, I respect him.
That's absurd, bro.
I said, dude, these were.
I couldn't agree with you more.
I might be showing my age. I don't even know who Bryant Young is.
He was a defense, DTD for the 49ers.
Yeah.
He was
good player.
Good
player.
Yeah,
player.
yeah,
But
he
guess
ain't
what?
no Jared
guy,
Allen.
but
He ain't no
Watch-
Jared Allen.
no,
he wasn't.
and he certainly wasn't a DeMarcus Ware.
No, he
Watch
certainly
this.
wasn't DeMarcus Ware.
Think about this. They let two guys in that aren't 100 sack pass rushers, and Jared Allen and DeMarcus Ware are both. As a matter of fact, I think they both have 130 plus.
Yep.
130 plus career sacks, and they didn't let those guys in.
Dude, Jared
So that
Allen
was
was a
a
problem. He was a
Yeah.
problem. Like, goddamn, like I don't know. The NFL Hall of Fame is just one of those things that like you just scratch your head with all the time.
It's becoming that. Yeah, it used
It just is.
yeah. It used to
And,
be
we're
like
not, and not to take away from Bryant Young, because I do think he's an Hall of Famer. But for him, like Kenny said, for him to get in over Jared Allen or before Jared Allen and DeMarcus Ware, that's absurd.
Yeah, that's bad. It's bad.
Yeah,
It's
that
bad.
must have been. I don't know if this is like if they're just trying to they're trying to write their
They're
right
just
their
picking people who
wrongs.
they like. That's what it is. They're just picking people who they like
Or
on a
they-
personal
oh,
level.
they
That's
got
what
some
it
dirt.
is.
And that may be the case.
Look, they got some dirt. Look, I'm convinced Brian Young and Richard Seymour got dirt on somebody in that committee.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
But I
and
watch this.
Hester too, because Hester should have been in.
Hey, but guess what? I'm gonna throw out another quarterback that I think should get in before Michael Vick.
Okay.
Boomer Esiason.
No.
As Joe Burrow's in the Super Bowl, I'll tell you what, he's a legend. Boomer is
He
a
had two.
legend.
Hey, say whatever you want to say. Boomer Esiason was one of the best quarterbacks in his day, and he has 2 Super Bowl appearances.
That's right. And honestly, the Bengals haven't been anything since. It's fair. And
Since.
get him in before everyone forgets about him, because Burrow in short order will be the best quarterback in the history of that franchise. But for now, Boomer Esiason holds his place. So that is probably worth something. You have 32 teams in the league and being the best of all time for a team.
Yeah.
Look, I feel like Swan is battling with that so much.
Listen, to be
Man,
honest with you, that's.
I mean, I know it's crazy because I mean, I can't. In essence, I can't argue with what you're saying. I can't argue with it. But once again, I think you can't necessarily just focus in on Vic's passing numbers. I think you have to focus in on what he did with his feet, and I think you have to focus in on his impact on the game. Like I think, and granted, there were a few guys
criteria
before
that you
him,
need to be in the Hall of Fame.
and everything. There were a few guys before him who were really mobile as quarterbacks, but I think
Cunningham.
after him, he really opened the door for dual threat quarterbacks. He really opened the door for guys to be successful as quarterbacks running the ball in the league.
Look, did he or did Fran Tarkenton and Roger Staubach?
Oh, honestly, fair, friend.
I mean, like I said, there were guys before him, but he just kind of took it to the next level.
I agree. Yeah. No, I agree.
No
I
doubt.
just want to be politically correct for a moment.
Right, yeah.
Right. So okay. So all right. You got me thinking about Hall of Fame players now. Well, okay. Well, here's the thing about Michael Vick, just to kind of go back to him.
Mm-hmm.
I like him and respect what he brought to the game. But one thing you guys will learn, obviously we'll talk a lot more. I'm very big on I can never consider a player great at a position if they're not dominant or if they're not really good at the main thing that the position asks for.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah.
So like I'm very critical of Tony Gonzalez. Why? He couldn't block to save his goddamn life.
I was just gonna say that's like your tight end.
No, he's a Hall of Famer.
Oh, okay. I was about to say.
No. We're not going that far. But to me, he's not the greatest tight end.
But you put Tony Whitten ahead of him.
Talking about Jason Witten? Who Witten?
I'm sorry, Tony. Jason Witten. I'm sorry. Put Jason Witten ahead of him.
Wait, you talking about big? You talking about big game Witt? Wait. You're talking about, first of all, I'm not saying Witt's the greatest. I think the greatest tight end we've ever seen is Gronk in his prime.
Yes.
Right.
I agree.
But
I agree.
Right. But ironically, when they asked Gronk who he modeled his game after, who did he say?
You tell me.
He said Jason Witten.
Oh, please.
Jason Witten.
Make an argument, please. I want to ask you make the argument.
So once again, you put Jason Witten ahead of Tony Gonzalez.
Jason Witten. Jason, watch it. Okay, so think about this. Jason Witten was an elite was an elite blocking tight end, and he was an elite receiving tight end. Nobody can argue that with me because he
was a great tight end.
Yeah, he was elite in both categories. So what you guys are saying is you would take one guy that was elite in one category and put him over a guy that was elite in two categories.
What I'm saying is I would take Tony Gonzalez over Jason Witten. The fact that I'm having that discussion is absurd.
It's like Kenny. It's like I always tell you. It's like I always say when we had this discussion. I think Tony Gonzalez was more advanced of a pass catcher than Tony Gonzalez was more advanced of a pass catcher than Jason Witten was over Tony Gonzalez as a blocker.
What are you talking about? Tony Gonzalez was so bad of a blocker that coaches got upset with him. Because
where do you have him? Where do you have? Whoa!
But he was I think he's more of a better pass than Jason Witten. But it supersedes what Jason Witten did as a blocker.
But can you say that? Okay, watch this. Let's see. But this is the guy that you say that Tony Gonzalez is so much better than him. Because if anything, this is what I tell people about Jason Witten. He's not a phenomenal athlete. He probably runs like a 5'4". Right. But Jason Witten stays open. And he's probably one of the better route running tight ends ever. But he had to be a good route runner because he wasn't athletic. Now, maybe you could say Tony Gonzalez was a more impressive athlete. But if we're talking about what the position demands, blocking, I've seen Jason Witten put a 290-pounder on his ass, catch a 30-yard pass next play. I've seen him do that. Tony Gonzalez couldn't do that if his life depended on it. I've seen Gronk do it.
I agree.
Watch this. We're talking about Tony Gonzalez. I think when it's all said and done, watch this. We've seen Kittle do it. I think when it's all said and done, I think Travis Kelce is knocking on being the best tight end to ever play for Kansas City.
That might be fair. I do have one objection, by the way, though, because you say you think Gronk's the greatest of all time in his prime.
I think he is.
Before you're talking about the running back position and you're putting Mixon up there saying that the greatest ability is availability, but then in another breath, how could you have Gronk as the best tight end that ever lived?
Okay.
I think I agree.
All right. So Jay, you make good points. I think it was that during his prime, during that 3 to 4 year time span where he actually was healthy.
Yeah.
He was so visibly better than everybody else in his position. And he was once again, he was overtly elite as a pass catcher, and he was a demon as a blocker.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So and he was athletic. To me, Gronk is a more athletic Jason Witten. That's why I loved his game. He's a more athletic, more talented Jason Witten.
I'm not going to take away from Gronk.
I could be wrong about this. I was going to say I could be wrong about this, but I believe that was the 2014 Super Bowl against. I could be wrong about the one. I think it's the 2014 Super Bowl against the Seahawks. He was insane, and we still have never. We're yet to see Jason Witten or Tony Gonzalez in a Super Bowl.
Yeah. So once again,
and he was insane in that Super Bowl.
So to kind of balance things out, I think that both Jason Witten and Tony Gonzalez are bottom top five. But I think that what we're seeing, I think you got Gronk. I really put Travis Kelce up there. I'm putting George Kittle up there. Like what we're seeing these guys do is different. And they're very well-rounded players.
No doubt.
Exactly. Travis Kelce, as great as a receiver is, when Travis Kelce was a rookie, he graded out as the number one blocking tight end in football in NFL. Right? So it's not like he's shown and showed.
Was it Cincinnati? He went to Cincinnati, right?
He went to Cincinnati with his brother.
Yeah.
Right. And then George Kittle came. He was first of all, nobody knew who the hell George Kittle was. George Kittle was a blocking tight end out of Iowa with some receiving upside because he had some athleticism to his game. He had a really good combine. So we've seen his highlight tapes of pancake blocks and things of that nature. Yeah. So I think this new breed of tight end and what we're seeing is complete. So same thing I'm talking about tight end. That's how I am about every position. I'm the same way about running back. I can't put running backs that are great at one thing over running backs that are great at many things. I feel bad when people argue Adrian Peterson.
Discussion as well.
Yeah, I feel bad when people argue Adrian Peterson against an LT. that's not fair to Adrian Peterson because he couldn't be LT. He's not as well rounded of a player. He's a great runner. But
I agree.
That's true.
Right.
That's fair. I agree with that.
Watch this, and it's one of the reasons. I'll be a homer for a little bit. It's one of the reasons why, honestly, Zeke is so valuable because he's great in all three categories of his game.
He's going to extend his career. He's going to extend his career by doing it.
Jay, I'm glad you said it. I've been trying to tell people that for years.
Mm-hmm.
That look at Frank Gore.
Why
is Frank Gore playing so
he catches at the backfield?
Huh?
He's in his career
as well,
because of him catching at the backfield.
Wait, what you said, Jay?
Okay.
Well, I was just saying, on top of his receiving chops, his actual ability to pick up in pass protection is invaluable.
Yeah. I tell people, if Zeke doesn't get the ball all game, he can still impact the game as a pass blocker.
Yep. And he's willing to do it as well, which is out of a guy who's a superstar like him, not everyone would be willing to do so.
Right. So I think you have to start when you look at value. That's what matters. So I can't have that's like having a wide receiver and it's like, oh, okay. So when people say, oh, Michael Vick or Lamar Jackson or this, that, even though I respect Lamar Jackson, oh, okay, this guy's the greatest at his position. Oh, okay, I'm a wide receiver. I can't really run routes very well, but if you put me on a jet sweep, I'm great. I'm phenomenal.
All right, so let me ask you this, because me and Justin actually had an argument about this a few weeks ago. Eli Manning, do you think he's a Hall of Famer? Because based on Justin's criteria, you can't tell the story of the NFL without talking about the first Super Bowl that Eli Manning won.
Season,
personally, I have a hard time.
Can you let me take this one before I jump in?
You said what? Oh,
Go ahead.
you're gonna let me take this
one before I jump in.
Okay, so I'll put it to you like this: Eli Manning, for the most part, is a very average or slightly above average quarterback.
I agree.
He's kind of similar, if not an improved version of Joe Flacco, that's had his best performances in the playoffs.
Right, he's had moments.
He's had great moments, and I think ultimately that tied in with his name, and he's made just enough Pro Bowls. He has just enough accolades. It's gonna get him in. Do I think that he is a Hall of Fame quarterback? I really personally don't feel that way. But I think that with his resume and what he's put together, he's gonna get in. It's a foregone conclusion.
No, I think he's gonna get into it. I just don't agree that he's gonna get in. You know what I mean? Like I don't agree that he's gonna get in. But Justin's vehement, like he's definitely a Hall of Famer because you have to put him in. Like
here's what. Go ahead. I was gonna say something real quick. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, Kenny, I couldn't agree with you more. Mm-hmm. I think that seeing how he's beaten Tom Brady twice in a Super Bowl, who I consider the GOAT. He's beaten Tom Brady twice in a Super Bowl, and then, like you said, that was a great comparison. He's kind of like a Joe Flacco in the fact that some of his best games, and he rises to the occasion in the playoffs. And you can say the same thing about him. I think that I agree. I think that he will get in to the Hall of Fame. I think it'll take him a couple years. He's definitely not a first ballot guy. But I think because of the aura of Tom Brady, I think that when they say you can't tell the story of the NFL without Eli Manning, because he's beaten Tom Brady twice in the Super Bowl in the manner in which he's done it, I think that you're going to have to put him in eventually.
Right.
And I agree. I don't think if you're asking me, is he a Hall of Fame player or quarterback? I would say no. But the two playoff runs that he had, it's hard to argue that.
No,
and like you said, that Manning name means something.
Right, because the only reason I asked that is because Ken, you're saying that Michael Vick isn't a Hall of Famer, but like he's a guy that you could tell had total impact on changing the whole outcome and the whole view of the NFL, right? And you're saying that a guy that you said like Jason Witten was a top 3 guy blocking, top 3 guy receiving. Eli Manning, was he ever like a top 5 quarterback though in his career? Like you could argue there.
Hey,
I agree. Never a top 5 QB in the NFL.
But I agree with what you're saying, and trust me, we're on the same page here.
Right.
And it kills me and hurts me to say it. I just know that with his last name, which holds some weight in the NFL,
no doubt,
and with resume he has just enough personal accolades and he has postseason success. It's gonna get him in.
Right.
Because I'm gonna tell you this.
Can I ask a question though, because I'm taking exception to this. The way you guys are saying it makes me think that you think it's a foregone conclusion that he'd get in, but like you don't think he deserves it. Am I hearing that right?
I don't feel like okay. I'll put it like this. I don't.
For me,
yes,
that's exactly what I'm saying.
Yes,
I don't think he does. I don't think he should be in.
I don't think I'll put you like this. When Eli Manning played for the Giants, like he wasn't a scary quarterback. Like
No,
He was average. He was,
Like
he
he's-
was an average
yeah.
QB, but damn it, when it came
The
down to it, in the
season
fourth
ends with his hand raised twice. There's all this talk about, oh, he wasn't scary during the regular season. I have a question for you. Week 8 in the year 2011, who played and what were the scores? No one cares. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, right? You have how many seasons have there been in the NFL? 80,
Love it.
90, whatever it is. 2 of them are Eli Manning with his hand raised over Brady. I don't think that should be like, oh, I guess we have to let him in because of that. I think he deserves it wholeheartedly. I know he's Eli with the last name. I get it.
But if we're just gonna go based off Super Bowl wins, because
like
Nick
he was
Foles won a
tearing it up
Super
in
Bowl
those
for the
Super Bowls
Philadelphia
either.
Eagles against Tom Brady too. And if we're gonna talk about the story of the NFL, are we not gonna talk about Philly? Like, is that not gonna be a story in the NFL? Winning the first Super Bowl in franchise history against Tom Brady? I don't think we could just judge it based on the fact that Eli Manning played Tom Brady twice and he raised his hand in victory twice. You know what I'm saying? Not only that, Eli Manning led the league in picks like 5 times in his career almost. The guy was a very, very inaccurate passer of the ball. But what made him really, really ridiculous was the fact that when it came down to those big moments, he did pull through. And I think people are just saying, okay, we're isolating those 2 years or those 2 playoff runs in his whole career, and we're saying that was special. If that were the case, then the year Joe Flacco had his Super Bowl run, that was
But
as
he
good as
wasn't-
quarterbacking
but
as
Eli was
we've
a
ever seen.
Eli had a streak of starts that was unparalleled to anyone other than Brett Favre. You're talking about like Nick Foles and Joe Flacco, like their career compares to Eli's. I don't think it does.
It's a microcosm of the career. It's like the same thing, except the fact that the Giants just didn't want to bench Eli Manning. And I get it, because it's Eli Manning. It's a great stretch of starts that he had. I'm not gonna- but if that's the case, there's a lot of guys in the NFL who had starting streaks that we could say, oh, this is really, really great. How can we not consider him to be a great player because he had all these starts? I don't think that's a criteria to be in the Hall of Fame. You know what I'm saying? So
I agree.
I don't know.
I wouldn't mind Nick Foles in the Hall of Fame for that game, by the way, was either, to be fair.
I don't know.
Again, yeah, you're right.
For one
Hey, look,
game.
hey, look, he already got a statue.
For one playoff run.
Right.
Yeah,
Right,
the
'cause it's
statue.
playoff.
The statue's enough.
Fair. That can-
That's just enough.
Could you imagine being Carson Wentz? You're the starting quarterback, and you walk up, you come to the stadium
Jeez
And-
Louise, right? Can you
to,
imagine?
to see somebody else's another man's statue.
Facts.
I
Can
thought
you
Well,
imagine?
it makes
Nick
me
Foles
wonder
back
because
then?
Carson Wentz was playing MVP ball that season.
Yeah, he was. But I'm saying it's so sickening. In what world do you think that that's gonna be good for your quarterback?
Oh, dude.
His psyche. I think Philly chipped away at that man's.
Oh yeah,
at
no,
his-
they messed with his head. His head, he's already fragile, and then
Yeah.
they just like broke him. They broke him.
Yeah.
they hit him with the Ben Simmons treatment, you know? He just couldn't come back.
Yeah.
Ben Simmons is a baby.
Yes, he is.
So was
Big
Carson Wentz.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. So I actually we got you guys for a couple more minutes. I do want to ask about what are your thoughts on some of these head coaching hires? I know the big one that everybody's is questioning is Mike McDaniel from Miami. I think I wanted them to hire Kellen Moore away from us, but I thought they made the smart choice.
Mhm.
But what
For
are your thoughts
personal reasons.
for personal reasons? Yeah, I'm being a little biased, but
Right.
what are some of your thoughts on the hires?
I'll let you go. Ian.
I don't know what teams look for in a head coach other than being a guy that orchestrates and puts guys in position on the offensive side of the ball, right? Because if we're just going to talk about guys who have merit and have like credibility and like winning cultures, I mean, the fact that guys like again, I'm cherry picking here with an easy hire, but like Brian Flores should be a head coach in the NFL. And the fact that his GM and him couldn't get along because they had differences in philosophy about winning football games is kind of silly to me. You know what I mean? Like guys like that. And like, not that I think like a guy like Rex Ryan should be a guy that could be in the hiring circles too, but no one talks about him. And we're getting guys like Nathaniel Hackett who What the hell did he do?
Make,
with
hey,
Aaron Rodgers?
make it make sense. Make that make sense.
Just make it make sense to me. You know what I mean? Like, just make the hire make sense. And the problem is that these guys, they're just hiring people that they like, or that they can have a beer with, or that they can even just control their roster moves with. You know what I mean? And it's just, I can't take the hiring process as seriously anymore, because it's just not. There's plenty of guys who deserve opportunities that just won't get it because the other guy doesn't like him, you know what I mean? On a personal level. Right. So I don't know how to fix the hiring process, because I'm sure I know you two have discussions about this all the time. So I don't know how you fix the hiring process. I don't know what the way to be is. So
and then I think you find yourself in a situation as well where you see guys like Shanahan get hired, even though he has a pedigree off his family. And then you see guys like McVay get hired, and everyone kind of wants that next guy, that 35-year-old guy, to come in and kind of
young
for
guy
the next years. So I think teams get validated in making these decisions when they see a team like the Rams hire a McVay and him be super successful, or a Matt LaFleur, who I guess we could credit Matt LaFleur if we want for all the success in Green Bay. But in my opinion, I could have went in and coached Green Bay and probably come out of it 10-6.
Yeah, I could argue that he didn't even deserve the head coaching job there. They were the 29th ranked offense in Tennessee when he was calling plays.
Hey, look, I'm glad you pointed that out. I tell people Matt LaFleur is not a great offensive coordinator.
Nope.
Yep.
Nope.
Well, it's an important point. Because, for example, like a guy like Josh McDaniels, I think, and he's a snake, by the way, what he did to the Colts.
Oh, yeah.
Accepted the job one day, backed out the next like a bitch. But I think that's a good hire for Las Vegas. Like, I think that's a home run hire, to be honest.
Yeah, but the problem is what happened with the Raiders coach, the special teams coach that the Raiders just got rid of. I know he got hired by Green Bay, but he's a guy that deserves a head coaching job. He did a hell of a job.
I don't know, and I'm gonna tell you this. I keep saying,
I would have liked them to see the interim, and don't ask me to pronounce his name, but I would have liked to seen him the Raiders give him a chance.
They should have gave him a 1-year audition.
I agree.
Right, but to me, that's where the Raiders keep messing up. They keep having good coaches that have built a culture and kind of getting something going, and they always fire them, and it always comes back to bite them.
Yep,
they did it. They did it. I don't know if you guys remember when they had Hugh Jackson that year, and Hugh Jackson was starting to build that culture. That was 2011. They fired him.
Yep.
You know, they fired.
They went 8-8 that year after the perpetual 6-10s, 4-12s, 3-13s, and then you get the one guy 8-8, and then all of a sudden you get rid of him because you got
rid of, and then they hired Dennis Allen, who did.
That's another conversation for another day.
And Dennis Allen
listen to this interview with him talking about that.
Right.
Oh, you're talking about Dennis Allen?
Dennis Allen.
No, Hugh Jackson. I was actually listening to him talk about that situation with the Raiders, and that's like I said, that's a conversation for another day.
Yeah, you're right about that.
Yeah, so I mean, head coaching can get a little better, and I think once again, just kind of going back to what I said about the Miami hire, I think that was kind of like they were kind of going out on a limb with that one. I think they kind of gambled because they seen everybody from that coaching tree have success.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Whereas we all know Kellen Moore is not ready to be a damn head coach. He would have been Matt Nagy 2.0.
Yeah.
That being said, this guy.
Don't get me started, please. Don't get me started.
Yeah, well, he has kind of like a fun look. I feel like if they're successful, he'd be the type of guy that's a sensation, like the young guy with the thick rimmed glasses and
that's
stuff.
Fair. That's fair.
And so he has kind of like I don't trust it. It's the Dolphins.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, and I don't know. It's just, can you get the right guy in there that's going to help them? Because Brian Flores built a culture there, man.
That's what I'm saying.
They were
becoming who won more games than he lost with a below. Like, say what you want about Tua. I think he can be somewhat successful in the league if you have the right guys around him. But he's not a great QB by any means.
He's not going to win games for you.
That's what I'm saying. And it came down to what that deep. And if you're a head coach in the NFL, and if you got hired, let's say on your offensive prowess, you can't be a head coach of a team and have a bad offense. You know what I'm saying? Brian Flores was a defensive-minded guy, and he had a really good defensive unit in Miami. That's why they won games, right? Like, the reason you win games is because you're a defensive guy, and that defense was legit. And I don't know what it takes in the NFL to be a head coach, because it clearly isn't about winning football games.
No,
because you can have a below 500 record
And
and get the head coaching job and just be chilling. You know what I'm saying?
politics.
Yeah, it's about politics.
I wonder too. I wonder too, did it have anything to do with the situation? The fact that I think in his own polite manner, he was making it more than clear that he wasn't a believer in Tua. And I wonder if that had anything to do with it as well.
That's fine, but like if you had that, like, albeit he had off the field issues and stuff, we know about that. But like if you had a choice between Deshaun Watson and Tua Tagovailoa, who the hell are you gonna choose? You're gonna choose Deshaun.
I'm taking Deshaun with the issue.
That trade. I don't know if you guys remember, that trade was all but finished. They just wanted him to settle his affairs, and he didn't want to settle out of court because he said it would have made him look guilty.
Right.
So
exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they were. Yeah, but as far as Tua goes, it's well known that he wanted Justin Herbert in that draft.
Yeah, and they took Tua.
Yeah.
They took Tua.
Yeah, I don't blame him.
We'll probably lose this guy his job too, honestly.
But, yeah, well,
hey.
Right now it hasn't. But if if like you said, if McDaniel becomes a really, if he becomes a sensation that everybody loves, he might just keep his job because of it. So
I'll put you like this. Although it may not be the sexiest hire, I think they could have done a lot worse. So I could see this being like a.
Okay.
How can I compare this? I could see it being like the head coach for Cleveland right now, like a Stefanski type of hire, where you really don't have any expectation. Exactly. Because I didn't really have very high expectations for Kevin Stefanski, and he still won football games for
that's right. Took him to the playoffs that year.
So, but Mike McDaniel, what I like about him is, granted, we still have to see what he's going to do from an offensive standpoint. I like that he's coming in and he's all behind Tua, because I think he's going to do everything in his power to see that Tua can be the best player possible. And then another thing, I like how young and charismatic he is. I think that's going to be big for that locker room. Whereas Brian Flores was more of an older, no nonsense type of guy. He's a Belichick disciple,
right? It makes sense. It makes sense, and that's what, like you said, Justin said the same thing, because it's the young, it's fresh, it's dynamic, it's flamboyant, for lack of a better term, right? Like it's a sexy hire in terms of what you're looking for as far as the checkbox go, right? It's just a matter of whether or not he can win games, but. As we've seen, if you win games in the NFL, all of a sudden, that may not be the only thing that you need to become or stay a head coach. So it's one of those weird things.
Well, I'll tell you what, we're about to find out soon. We're about to find out sooner or later.
You're right about
that. But we actually, we was able to keep you guys a little longer. We actually got our last guest of the show, the JD and CeeLo podcast. I don't know if you guys got a chance to tap in with these guys. They're hilarious.
They're fun guys.
They're fun. Yeah. So, like I said, I want to thank Justin and Asif. I want to thank you guys for coming on and just showing some love and giving your input and your perspective on the Super Bowl. I think me and Jay are going to be right. We're going to win a lot of money today because we're right with Cincinnati. And obviously, you and Swan, you and Swan hit it up. So hit it off. So
no doubt.
Maybe you guys can.
Hey, but real quick, I want to give these guys a chance to plug the podcast and just let people know how people can view them and see what's going on with them. So go ahead, guys. Take this time now and do all your plugs. Do what you got to do.
Who should start? All right. So you caught us in a weird time. I guess we're kind of in the middle of almost like a rebranding, if you will, right? Yeah. But right now, we'll be on the same channel. If you follow us at the Peace of Mind Podcast with a K
instead of C in the word podcast,
that's our Instagram page, and there's probably a name change coming in the recent months. But if you follow there now, you'll be a part of that whole process. So
no doubt.
Well, most definitely. Hopefully, I can.
And for everyone that's following the Rooted in Sports podcast, we definitely follow these guys, so you can go through us and check them out, man. Like I said, I feel like they're comedic geniuses. I like I said, bro, I was literally watching some of you guys' videos last night, bro. I was dying. So we're definitely tuning in, guys, man. Much love. We're definitely gonna get you guys back in with us for sure.
No doubt, bro. No doubt.
We'll be happy to be here.
Absolutely. This is a fun time. I had a blast on this thing. It was great.
Absolutely, man. We appreciate it.
Appreciate you guys.
All right, you guys. We'll stay tapped in.
Absolutely. I'll talk to you fellas soon.
All right.
Enjoy the
All
game,
right,
y'all.
now.
Most def.
Yes, sir.
All right. So let's get these jokers up here. Hey, so what's the I wish we should have downloaded this one. We should have downloaded the viewer discretion.
We're gonna keep it PG-13. Don't worry about it.
Never.
So you guys, this is my co-host Swan Don.
What's
All right,
going on?
What's going on, Swan?
How y'all
This
feeling?
Oh, we're chilling, baby. We're chilling,
We're
man.
good. We're good.
We're hanging in there. You know how it is. We're
Yes,
about to get
sir.
ready
Yes, sir.
to start eating. We got
Ready?
Oh,
we got
yeah.
people waiting
I
for us
think
about
this
to.
game, man. With love, we already been drinking my ginger ale.
Lemonade.
I feel you.
Yeah, I got my little bang booze here. Keep me hydrated before I tank a couple hours from now.
Yep.
So
Yep. I mean, I think on a side note, I think the Monday after the Super Bowl should be a holiday. I think we should all have off.
yeah, for
Shouldn't
sure.
it?
Well,
It
glory
should
to
be a-
God,
it should
I'm
be a
off.
national
Anyway. It's my normal off day anyway.
Oh, you lucky, man.
Nice.
You lucky. I gotta wake up at normal time like nothing, man. Like nothing
Actually,
happened.
Actually, my job gave me a break. They said you guys could come in an hour later. So I was like, oh, okay. I mean, I got an hour's sleep.
Yeah.
I think that's damage. I think that's damage control. They're like, you know what?
Absolutely.
Yeah, they know what's gonna happen. Yeah,
Absolutely. Man.
absolutely, bro.
Yeah. So no,
Word.
most definitely. Swan, kick us off. What we got for these gentlemen? Because I'm interested to see what they brought for us today.
Line it up. Let's rock and roll.
Yeah.
Throw it at us, baby. Throw it at us.
Yeah, look. Hey, I know it's tough because these guys. It's tough, to have them talk about the Super Bowl because these guys, they're Buccaneers fans.
Nah,
Nah, come
hell,
on.
fuck no, man.
How dare you?
How dare you?
How
Oh.
dare you?
This guy
Hold on,
got some jokes,
hey.
man.
Hey, we gonna get to that. We're gonna get to your teams and everything, but obviously
all right.
we're talking about the Super Bowl today.
Yeah.
Right.
So real quick, and you guys can, what I'm saying, go ahead at your own discretion. But who do you guys think is gonna win this game and why?
Man, that's a beyond loaded question.
I'll let you go first.
Because I mean, it's to me honestly, if you look at it on paper and you look at all the talent that's on the Rams, you initially are going to say the Rams, right? Because of all the weapons they got on
Right.
defense and on offense. These guys are playing lights out. But at the same time, you got a Bengals team that, and I've said it before on other episodes that we have, that they really don't have any pressure on them. You know what I'm saying? That they're just there. They're just happy to be there. You know what I'm saying? So they have
Right.
every reason to play lights out, to have fun, jump around like a bunch of 16-year-old kids and have fun out there and maybe pull up an upset. So it's hard to definitively say, yo, I got the Rams or I got the Bengals, because anything can happen. Because look what happened when they faced the Kansas City Chiefs. Everybody was like, it's the Chiefs. They're playing at home. It's the Chiefs. It's Mahomes. And here comes Joe Burrow, doing his thing, getting these touchdowns and squeaking out a win in Arrowhead, and which is one of the hardest places to actually win a football game.
Yeah.
So this Rams team, as good as they are, they can be beat. They're not one of these Super Bowl teams that you just look at them, you're like, you know what? There's no chance in hell you're gonna beat them.
Thank you.
And for me, I want to go Rams, right? Because I got my boy Von Miller there. You know what I'm saying? My ex-Bronco. I like Stafford. I think Stafford, this is his time to, get his ring, solidify himself as probably one of the best quarterbacks that have played in the league, and get over the hump, because he's been ruining his career in Detroit. He finally gets over to LA and he got a shot to actually win something. But on the flip side, you got this great story in Joe Burrow. And you got Jamar Chase, you got Mixon, you got Higgins, you just got a plethora of players on both sides of the ball that are, they're just hungry. They're just hungry and they happy to be there. Everyone discounted them out. At the beginning of the season, everybody was like, oh, we got 4 wins for the Cincinnati Bengals. They just finished winning the damn division. Like, if that's not a success story, I don't know what is. When you get told at the beginning of the season you're gonna win 4 fucking games, it's like, oh man, they've written us off, and they used that as ammunition, and they won the damn division. So for me, I'm gonna say Rams. I'm gonna say Rams just because the Rams have more, And that offensive line for the Cincinnati Bengals is suspect. And for you to think that you're going to hold Aaron Donald, Von Miller, and the rest of those boys, that front four is disgusting. So I see Burrow running a lot. I see Burrow running a lot during this game, but at the same time, I can see them staying in the game long enough to make some sort of noise to kind of like make the Rams like, oh shit, these guys are they might come back on us, because anything can happen. Anything can happen. Now, if the Rams can't score, I'm going Bengals all the way. But again, I'm going Rams.
Where you going?
That's where I'm going. I'm going Rams.
All right.
That's where my money's at. But I'm shaking. You know what I'm saying? I'm fucking
Do you have a
shaking.
score?
He's like, you bouncing around. Choose one.
I don't know what's going on here.
It's hard, man, because I've been screaming Bengals from the beginning.
It's not hard. It is
Do
not
you have a
hard.
score? Let me get a score out you.
A score. Based on the Rams defense, if they play the way they want to play, I got the Rams scoring 24, and I got the Bengals 17. 24-17 is my final.
Okay.
So
Hey, look. He just went through this convoluted way of eventually ending up at the destination of all Rams.
Right.
I gotta give you
Hey, it was
context.
tough for me.
Come on, man. Come on.
You're a little apprehensive.
Yeah, man.
it took him a while to land the plane, but
I'm
he
one
got
of those. I'm one of those right now. Like, there's no definitive. Like, yeah, I got everything on the Rams. I'm betting the house, the mortgage, everything. I don't feel that way. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you make a bet or you say, yo, I got this team,
You gotta be convicted.
Yeah, you feel confident. I don't feel confident about how the Rams might win.
Well, I'm gonna do it for you.
Oh, here we go. You see what I'm talking about?
It's Rams, and ram it up your cram hole, because that is where I'm going. Enough with the fucking Cinderella bullshit.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear, oh, Joe this and Joe cool. He's wearing the fucking chain and he's running around. Enough. This is Rams all day. And there's really one thing I'm going to say about this. This is going to be a Rams because I believe, I believe you got to do your fucking time before you get yourself crowned the Super Bowl champs. Unlike the lucky motherfuckers in the Kansas City Chiefs a couple years ago when Mahomes came up in the second year and got it done, that is not going to happen.
Right.
The Rams went in there. They lost their Super Bowl a couple years ago with against New England.
Right.
McVay had to retool. I'm going to trade the fucking bum, Jared Goff. Get him out of here. Go get the fucking guy here. He gets Stafford. Here comes Stafford. Beautiful. He did everything what he had to do. Boom, 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 boom.
Yep, as advertised.
As advertised. The offense, Cooper Kupp, fucking that guy should be the fucking MVP of the league. Not the other Shaq off from fucking Green Bay either.
He has an argument.
You mean Brett Favre Jr.?
Yeah, Brett Favre Jr. Yeah,
yeah, seriously.
Because I love me some receivers, man. And Cooper Kupp, for you to receive, for you to receive 1,950 yards. God damn, man, 1,950 receiving yards.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Yep. That's the whole offense.
So this is what I believe. It's going to be Rams, and I'll give you the score right now, right off the bat. Okay, the score is going to be.
Let's go.
Don't be disrespectful.
I'll give you 31-14.
Ooh.
That's disrespectful. Get him out of here.
Those are grown men with
that's 31
with those stripes on.
Listen, they'll hang a little bit in the first half with all the adrenaline and all the little kiddies in the Bengals. Yep. They're all jacked up.
Yep.
But they'll slide away in the second half. Blow them out. That's it. Goodbye. It's boom, boom, boom. See you later.
Yep.
So all right.
Hold on. I'm not done. And this is why. Back to the do your time. The Cincinnati Bengals have been perennial losers. Okay? And you're talking from a Jet fan, I've been fucking nowhere in my life, except for 5 AFC championships. So don't tell me you got a fucking quarterback. Yeah. I went in there, I cried twice. those 2 years. Cry.
Also, this is home. This hits home for you.
Yes, it's home for me. So don't tell me the Cincinnati Bengals. Yeah. Swan, don't laugh, Swan. Don't laugh. This ain't reality TV. This is real pain. So don't tell me the Cincinnati Bengals are all of a sudden, I'm going to figure out this is how we're going to make the shortcut to win the Super Bowl. Fuck you. Fuck you. Not at my watch. Not at my watch. You're going to wait. You're going to wait like everybody else.
Yep.
Fuck you.
You're gonna go through some pain.
No.
So basically what you're saying, let me catch your drift, is if let's say you start a job, right? Let's say you've been through a lot. Let's say you've been through a lot of shit in your life, right? You've been through a lot of shit in your life, and you start a new job,
Right.
It's a great job, and you get there, and you know there's a few hiccups at the beginning. But you wind up rising up the ranks at that job, and you wind up getting promoted to manager. And there's somebody else there's some other employee that's like, damn, I've been here for 5 years, and I didn't get considered for manager.
Well, you know, what do you want me to do?
You better hope it's not a union job.
I mean, yeah, right. So I can't
Look.
Go get me the union leader.
You know how them union jobs are, bro. You be like, here, young buck, there's a seniority list you got to go through first.
I'm just saying,
Some people rise faster.
I get it. But you look, the only positive that I'm going to get if the Bengals squeal this one out is that it's going to give me hope that my stupid Jets can actually get it done in the next couple of years. As far as just reloading, get the quarterback right, we got the coach right, we got the front office right.
Did you get the quarterback right?
It's still in the making. We don't know yet.
The jury's still out. The jury's still out.
I'm not falling headfirst for Zach Wilson yet. He looks okay, but again, a rookie year. What do you expect? I don't expect anything. But if they come over here with the same bullshit, because this is what I don't want. I don't want this kind of Bengals just comes out of nowhere after 4 wins and they build it back up and then it's like it feels like the Giants. Your little lucky ass. I don't want to hear about the catch over the fucking helmet or the beautiful pass over here.
It's good.
Manningham.
Why right?
It's good for football. It's good for football.
No, good for nothing. No, that's luck rabbit foot shit. I don't like that shit.
Nah.
You gotta play. I'm not for this fucking lucky shit. They're gonna come out of nowhere now. Oh, look at us. We're Super Bowl champions at 9-7. Fuck you. Do your time. And LA Rams have done the time. They've put the resources in. They got the coach right. They spend money like fucking crazy. They threw away all their draft picks because we want to win a Super Bowl in less than 5 years.
Yep.
And this is their time in their house.
Yep.
And their garden, in their fucking casa. And that's what I believe in.
So it's kind of like another comparison. It's kind of like you're at the club and you're like talking to this female all night. You macking her up. You're like, man, I'm about to go home with this lady. Right. And some other guy catches her at the bar. He gets about 2 minutes of her time, and and it's a wrap.
Gives her the biggie. What's your name? What's your sign?
I get it. But listen, I get it. But the Super Bowl Lombardi Trophy is not a whore.
Yeah.
She's not a whore.
So is that woman?
We gotta work hard here.
So is that woman a whore, or did that man just give her more? Or give her more value in 2 minutes?
Whatever. I get it. But nah, man, you're not gonna come in here in the AFC and you're gonna tell me the fucking Bengals out of left field. And I get the talent they have. I'm not knocking Joe Burrow. I'm not knocking Jamar Chase. That's a good offensive team. Yeah. And Joe Mixon, they got a good bunch there. But you're not going to tell me now. You're going to go into L.A. On the road, because basically it's a road fucking Super Bowl for them, in front of their fans and Matthew Stafford, which is the better story. Because let me tell you something, Joe Burrow. When you were running around, when you were still sucking fucking titty in your fucking mouth and your mom's, sucking your mom's breast, I was still here suffering for my team. You're not going to come in here and embarrass me. After your ACL tear, your offensive line stinks. And you're going to tell me you're going to go over all that with your little bullshit cigar?
Well, look. Well, check it out. Speaking of, since we going there, we're going to, you know what I'm saying, switch it up just a little bit. We're going to come off topic just a little bit. As a Jets fan, What do you think what moves do you think the Jets need to make, and where do you think they need to go moving forward so that they can become themselves a playoff contender? What do you think needs to happen for them?
It's a lot.
Offense. Because first of all, before we even get to the draft, because I'm sick and tired of the fucking narrative, we got to build to the draft. Well, guess what? We have struck out a lot in the draft. And the players that we did hit home runs on, we don't even fucking sign them back. We trade them away. So I'm getting sick and tired of that bullshit. So the last 3 years, because Joe Douglas has come in the middle of a basically, we were moving forward and rebuild at the same time. So this is actually his second real draft class that he's going to have soon.
Right.
So you take your free agent money. We have about $60 million under the fucking cap. You go get yourself, I don't care how you gotta do. You trade for a receiver, get yourself another number, basically a real number one. Because I like Corey Davis, but he's not 1-1. Get somebody, even if it's Calvin Ridley, if you can get him in on the other side, get his ass in there, and then you bring him over here with Corey Davis. And I'm just putting an example out there because I mean, you still got Allen Robinson. If you want to give me Allen Robinson, I can get him too. I love Allen Robinson. I like this.
My Bears need to throw the checkbook at him.
Oh, he's a Bears fan.
He's a Bears
fan.
You're suffering too.
Yes, unfortunately. We should have but you know what's crazy? We should have paid him last year. Now that we didn't, and then he had the season he had this year with all the trouble at quarterback. They're not. I fear that they're not going to pay him, and he's going to leave.
Yep. And so that's the guy that I got with my little gun right there. You bring me Allen Robinson right now.
Yep.
You pay that man.
I mean, I also think you guys need to.
And he's a very underrated receiver.
They need to re-sign Braxton Berrios.
Well, but he's part of the smaller move.
But he's asking for a certain amount of money, and a lot of the fans are saying, hell to the $9 million,
which I don't know we can do all that. But
I don't know, man. He's dynamic.
It starts with giving Zach Wilson the weapon that he needs. We already got our slot receiver Elijah Moore. You got Corey Davis there. Go get me a big time free agent wide receiver who has experience. And I get we were the youngest team in the league, but you know what? I don't want to be that anymore. Get me some veterans in there. Get me Allen Robinson. Get me
okay with Zach Wilson at quarterback though.
Yes,
you're okay with Zach Wilson at quarterback.
I'm okay right now. He's a little short.
You're confident in him that he can lead you in the future.
Yes, because I trust the offensive system better than him. If you read what I'm saying, I trust the offensive system more than Zach Wilson being some sort of fucking superstar. Right. I don't need him to be Aaron Rodgers. Just run the plays. Yep. Make the right read. That's it. This offense is very simple. It really is, man. It's a West Coast offense. Look how Aaron is running it. Look how Mahomes is doing it. Look how Kirk Cousins is doing it in Minnesota. Right. It's just nice little slants. You got open stuff. You got these backdoor fucking jet sweeps. Just get the talent in there. Yep. So you don't even have to be that great.
Find the openings. Win. Yeah, find the openings and take whatever the defense is giving.
He's got great arm talent. I'm not gonna lie to you. All I need him is to be right up here. All these quarterbacks that we've drafted, even your boy now too, Fields. He's got to get right here, and that takes time. Swan,
yeah,
that takes time.
He does.
And he's just gonna have to wait.
He does have some work to do. I think he showed flashes, but he does have some work to do, and that's why I really hope that they would keep a guy like Allen Robinson, because I feel like Allen Robinson could really be a security blanket for him.
Yes,
but
absolutely.
I think that he's gonna leave. And honestly, just looking at Justin Fields, I think that he's more comfortable with Darnell Mooney than he is with Allen Robinson.
Yeah.
And so I think moving forward, I think Darnell Mooney will be our number one guy, just because of the rapport that I think he and Justin Fields had.
Right.
Well, I think I like Allen Robinson, but I think young quarterbacks that are still learning, they're still struggling with accuracy and anticipation. I think they need route runners.
Yeah,
and I think
you're right.
Yes,
that makes sense. That makes sense. And good route runners help a lot.
Right, they do. They do. They give them that confidence.
And honestly, I think also Justin Fields needs to work on his timing. He's too used to his college system, which was
being open,
make the read, And if the read is not there, I got to run or I got to do something to improvise.
Yeah.
The NFL is all about
I
timing.
agree.
It's all about timing. There's only a plethora, not even a plethora. There is like 1 or 2 quarterbacks in the league right now that can really change the game when it comes to the play breaking down and them extending the play and making it happen, which is to me is Mahomes and Aaron
Sure.
Rodgers. I think
With
those are
that
the-
being said, with that being said, I've talked to Kenny about this numerous times. I'm not a huge fan of Matt Nagy and what he has tried to do with this Bears offense.
Yeah.
I think I think he came from Kansas City. I think they were so high on him. I think that
Andy Reid
even,
Jr.
and I think, and quietly as it's kept, although I want to see him get a job, I think that Andy Reid has been calling plays in Kansas City for quite some time now.
Right.
And I think
that's what's happening to Bieniemy.
It kind of looks bad for Eric Bieniemy.
Yeah.
And then you look at a case like us with Matt Nagy, and I mean, honestly, I think we put a lot of blame on Mr. Trubisky.
Right.
When in actual, I think we seen this year that it was more Matt Nagy than anything.
Yeah.
Because he's not prepared. He doesn't prepare a game plan catered to his quarterback skill set. I look at that game Justin Fields had in Cleveland, and that let me know right there that he's not the worst.
And that goes to a lot of these teams right now that are picking up offensive coordinators to be new head coaches. Just because you're a great offensive coordinator doesn't mean you're going to be a great coach. And we've seen it.
Yeah.
And we've seen it play itself over and over again where these people have been nothing but complete failures. My Vic Fangio and the Broncos, prime example of that. You're a great defensive caller, but when it comes to you calling the game itself and being involved with the offense, the special teams, and the defense, you're terrible. You're fucking terrible. And I'm glad the Fangio's out.
I would have loved for us to get Vic Fangio back, though. I ain't gonna lie now. I would have loved for the Bears to take Vic Fangio back.
Absolutely. Yeah. And there's nothing, for me, there's nothing wrong with you being a great defensive coordinator or a great offensive coordinator because, for example, Wade Phillips is a great,
I'm glad he said it.
defensive coordinator. But when it comes to being a head
Great
coach,
example.
the man is garbage.
He's
garbage when it comes to being a head coach. But as a defensive coordinator, the man got me Super Bowl 50. He's been a part of the Broncos organization for years. And everywhere he went, when he was a defensive coordinator, the defense was lights out. So it's just for me.
Romeo Crennel as well.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. But again, stinks as a head coach. So it's to me, it's preparation of the whole entire game. You can't just be focused. And that was to go off topic a little bit. Rex Ryan's problem was the same thing. Great defensive mind. This guy was like lights out on defense. But when it came to the offense, he was like, "Oh, offensive coordinator, you do it because I don't have time. I got to focus on my defense." And that's been his failure. That's been his exact failure. But
to
you're
finish
a Broncos fan, correct?
Absolutely, 100%. Ride or die, orange all day.
Okay, go ahead and say what you were going to say, and then I wanted to dive into what exactly he thinks the Broncos needed to do moving forward to be successful and possibly see themselves in the playoffs. But go ahead, bro.
Yeah, to finish my end, I have more belief in the coaching staff. I love Robert Saleh. I love the guys who they brought over from San Francisco with Mike LaFleur, them boys. I really believe and trust them more than Zach Wilson. I think they're going to get him. They got the culture right in there.
Right.
And the way they've been drafting and seeking talent, I have 100% confidence in them. 100% confidence. So I think we're in the right path. So this is the first time I'm going to have a quarterback that's not going to have a new head coach after 1 year and a new offensive coordinator after 1 year. So everything now everything now is in line, on track, together. And that's what I want. Together.
And y'all had a lot of injuries that I think played a big part.
Number one in the NFL. Number one.
Number one in the NFL. I'll tell you a guy that when you guys lost him, I said, fuck, man, this would have been good for him. Carl Lawson.
Oh,
when you guys lost Carl Lawson, I thought that was going to be a
Carl Lawson, if he would have been in that line, and we were already supposedly
he'd have been a Pro Bowler.
Top 10 defensive lines in the league. Us. With Lawson there, our sack numbers would have been up and our pressures would have been up because now you got to focus your energy on him, and you leave now Quinnen Williams and my other guy on the other side, which I forget his name, Fatukatsu, whatever his freaking name is. And those linebackers, those holes are going to open up, and you shoot right into there, man. I can't wait till he comes back. Everything looks good. I'm loving the coaching situation and the staff. That to me is the most promising. When you get that right, I think the Jets are moving forward. The offense, he'll learn again. Zach Wilson, year number 2.
Yep.
I'm good to go.
And that's what
I'm
you want.
happy.
That's what you
we're
want.
moving forward.
That's all you
So,
can ask for. Because prime
ahead.
example is this guy, Josh Allen from. Imagine if he would have been having the same trajectory as a Jet player. You know, you're losing your offensive coordinator, changing coaches, whatever. We would not be. Josh Allen would not be who he is right now.
And that first year or two, people had questions about him. That first year or two, people really questioned was he the answer? And now I left no doubt.
I question him.
Yeah,
I question him.
Yeah,
I thought he was. I can say it on this platform. I thought he was another tall, overrated white QB with a big arm. That's what I thought he was coming out of Miami. But no,
if he keeps this up, honestly, I think he could be a better version than Ben Roethlisberger if he keeps this trajectory, because he to me
comparison. That's a good comparison.
Absolutely, because he's the one that can extend the play. He takes the hits the way Roethlisberger was at the beginning of his career.
He's got to stay healthy though too, because taking those hits like that,
but the problem,
I do the sign of the cross for him.
But yeah, I know. But the problem with Allen is that these design run plays for him,
terrible.
That's not going to last too long. And the older you get, the harder the hits are going to feel, and you're going to get carted off the field. You keep that shit up. So the Bills got to fix that running system in order for them to be successful.
Well, I think it's going to change. Brian Daboll's gone, so the offense will change a little bit. But you made the Ben Roethlisberger comparison, which I've heard before. The comparison that I use, I tell people this: Josh Allen is who Cam Newton was supposed to become.
Yes.
Yes.
Josh Allen.
Oh,
that's a good one.
But I'll tell you this: Cam Newton took some really bad hits on his design run plays and never got a call. Well, I'll tell you this right now.
Yeah,
Super Bowl 50.
They was lighting his ass up.
We were lighting his ass up, and I was holding my breath. I was holding my breath, and I'm like, yo, they didn't throw a flag. I'm winning the game.
I still kind of hold it against them. The one play on the fumble when he wouldn't dive off. Like this is the Super Bowl. You don't know if you'll ever get back to this position again. You got a
decision.
And how has that worked out for him? And I'm a Cam Newton fan, but how has that worked out for him?
No, of course. You gotta lay it on the line, especially if it's the last game of the season. You know, but he hasn't been the same since we beat the shit out of him. And I thought that there were going to be some plays, some calls where you can throw a flag. I would have been like, you know what? We headhunted. We took his head off. We knocked him at his knees. We lit his ass up.
Bounding Gate Part 2.
I'm not mad because I got a Super Bowl title out of it.
You say, you know what?
I'm not mad about it. I got a Super Bowl title out of it.
And we talked about the Jets, but I wanted to give you an opportunity to kind of dive into the Broncos. And what do you think about the Broncos quarterback situation and what moves should they make there? And what can they possibly do to be successful and find themselves in the playoffs? Because they were right there this year.
Yes, they were. And the biggest issue, and it's the reason why I like the Nathaniel Hackett hire, even though to me he's a nobody.
You do?
I like him a little bit. I like him a little bit. I'm warmer than I am colder when it comes to Nathaniel Hackett. He's fresh. He's new. He's a player's coach. He brings that energy. He reminds me a lot of Robert Saleh. When he comes in, he just commands the room the way he talks. And even on his press conference, he was talking about how much of a great organization the Bronco organization is. What it's going to mean for him to bring this organization back to where it should be, because right now we're in the shitter. We got no quarterback. Our offensive system for the past six years has been just garbage, and it's all because they've been hiring defensive minded coaches, which I'm fine with. You know what I'm saying? Because if you want to win via the defense, that's great, but you need to have something comparable at the competent at the quarterback level in order for you to get there. You can have a great defense all you want, but you still got to score points. And my biggest issue with Fangio for the past couple of years has been the anemic offense that I've had. So now you bring in Nathaniel Hackett, right? So I'm like, okay, now the offensive system is going to change. No. Now, does that mean I'm going to get Aaron Rodgers? I don't give a shit if I do, if I don't. You know what I'm saying? Because I still believe that Drew Lock has the potential to be that type of quarterback.
And he does.
That's how I feel, because I feel like he has the tangibles. He has the skill set to be successful. It's the system that he was currently in that was fucking trash. He was great when he had Rich Scangarello his first year, his rookie year. He lit it up. Now you fire Scangarello because he wasn't getting along with Fangio. You bring this fucking scrub and fucking Pat Shurmur, who's a fucking bum.
Everywhere he's been.
Everywhere he's been, he's been a bum. Yeah,
the former Giants coach.
Yep, exactly.
Oh,
and the scumbag that came from Minnesota, because he put Case Keenum on the map. Give a shit about no Case Keenum. And we made the mistake of picking his ass up too. He was another fucking bum. But my point is, yeah, I can't stand. You gotta be part of our chat. If there's one person I would run over my car, it'd be Pat Shurmur, because he is just a terrible play caller. I mean, it's just like he doesn't know how to read the room. He does not know how to read the room. It's like, okay. And then and the other thing is I think Drew Lock never helped himself get over the hump. Like, I feel like he's still in that college mind frame where he's having way too much fun and not taking shit seriously.
He's still a young kid.
Yeah, he's still a young kid, but he's making a lot of mistakes with his arms. He's still throwing off the back foot shit, not doing his reads right, and not doing his homework. That's my problem with Drew Lock. But if you got an offensive scheme that could be easier for him to run, then maybe we can get over the hump. Because from a defensive perspective, what Fangio left in Denver is good enough for me to win the championship. Now, I need Bradley Chubb to step the fuck up. All right. I need another linebacker like Von Miller. If he wins this Super Bowl and we can re-sign his ass, I'd re-sign fucking Von Miller again. But I need Bradley Chubb to step the fuck up, because you're the first round draft pick that hasn't panned out because your ass been hurt the whole goddamn time.
You're the guy now.
Yeah, exactly.
100%.
You're the new Von Miller, so I need you to step the hell up.
Yeah.
But the rest of my defense, lights out.
No,
I got Justin. What's the hell is
Simmons.
Justin Simmons as my safety.
Underrated.
They can re-sign. Exactly, underrated. I'm pissed the fuck off. He didn't go to the goddamn Pro Bowl. That's another fucking issue. We'll talk about another day. You know, I got fucking. If we can re-sign Kareem Jackson, I'll take Kareem Jackson right now, because he knows the system. He knows what to play, what to do, and he's a great strong safety. Now I got probably the unspoken rookie of the year for me in Pat Surtain the second.
Well, we know
because the dude was killing people. He was doing his thing out there. He wasn't getting any recognition for it. He get one or two mentions here and there, but he wasn't getting the respect that he earned. Everybody was on Diggs. Everybody was talking about Mr. Diggs and Diggs this and Diggs that. Why? Because he got that fucking star in his goddamn head.
Well,
and
11
fuck
picks
the Cowboys.
Too, 11 picks.
I'll say this. I think there were a lot of great rookie defensive performances this year.
Yes.
But I think that Micah Parsons was so transcendent that it made it hard for those guys.
I agree with the Parsons defensive rookie of the year vote. He would have got my vote. I can agree with that.
Yeah. Michael Parsons was just
he's an animal.
He's an animal, man.
Fucking animal.
I said it when the Broncos had the 9th pick. I said I either want Micah or get me Pat Surtain, and they took Pat Surtain. I said, all right, I'll take the corner, the whatchamacallit. What do they call them? Shutdown corner. There it is. I'll take the shutdown corner, but in reality, I wanted that line. Yes,
you want Micah Parsons?
Yes, I wanted Micah. I wanted Michael first and then Pat Surtain too. But, that didn't work out. But it's fine. It's fine because Pat Surtain is doing his thing. But from a defensive perspective, I think we're fine. Offensively, we need to score, because I've said this time and time again. If you're not keeping up with the Kansas City Chiefs, you have no business even being a part of the playoffs. You have to score. You have to continue to score. You have to put your foot on the pedal to the metal all the way until you fucking make them bleed. But you cannot allow, whether it be the Chiefs, whether it be whatchamacallit, Josh Allen and the Bills. Come on, man. They went toe-to-toe with them.
I'm gonna tell you this, for the first time in my entire probably football following life, I think the AFC is head and shoulders a more talented conference than the NFC.
Yes.
For the first time.
I will agree. I would agree with that. I would agree with that.
I don't know about hold on.
You got a lot. I'm gonna tell you this. You have all these great young generational talent quarterbacks. Yeah.
Listen, when Ben Roethlisberger, Peyton Manning, and Phillip Rivers, that
But the NFC wasn't a slouch then.
No. But the AFC, that's my Jets had to go through that. I mean, to go win on the road and beat basically all these Hall of Famers, And that's not fucking easy.
Yeah.
That's not fucking. No, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
The NFC
You're
had
right.
theirs too.
Yes, but I get what you're saying that the AFC looks good now. It really does.
Right.
But those early 2000s, and Peyton Manning with his Omaha, all this bullshit transcended the game, and fucking Marshall Faulk running around with him. That shit was a pain in the ass.
Yep.
Nobody wanted to go to Pittsburgh. Nobody wanted to go to San Diego because Phillip Rivers was fucking throwing the ball over the place too with LaDainian Tomlinson and them boys.
Or New England.
And New England with fucking Brady. Look, I didn't even mention Brady.
Yeah.
So you talking about 4 guys already there that just was a fucking clog for us in the AFC. I mean, it's brutal, but
four guys that are going to go to the Hall of Fame.
They're going to go to the Hall of Fame. And just to wrap up the Broncos for him, his rosters are set.
Yeah.
The talent is there, man.
Yeah.
It is. All they're gonna do is just basically
plug in a quarterback.
Plug in the quarterback, and they're ready to go.
Yeah.
They're ready to go.
And you said y'all need pass rushers. How about y'all bring Shane Ray in for a cup of coffee?
Bro, he's an undersized guy, man. He's an undersized guy. He didn't work out too well, man. Fangio didn't really like him too much, man. He was just like, you're too undersized and whatnot. I liked him because I like the energy that he brought, but you know, it was probably the same situation with Derek Wolfe, and that's the reason why Derek Wolfe is playing for the Ravens. They're undersized. They'll make a play here and there, but it's not constant. You know what I'm saying? So if you got to move on, you got to move on, man. But we got dogs sitting in the bench.
They're ready, man.
We got dogs sitting in the bench ready to come up.
Your receiving core is good.
Yes,
very good. From slot receivers to Sutton.
Yep.
All they need is the guy that'll deliver the ball.
I need. You know, Tim Patrick and Cortland Sutton got signed, so I ain't got to worry about that.
Yeah, you good.
Now I need Jerry Jeudy to step the fuck up, and then I need KJ Hamler to do his best impersonation of fucking Tyreek Hill. So if we got those 4 receivers doing what they need to do, the Broncos are in the business. We shoot up drastically from the number 4 in the division. We could be number 2. Because there's very little that separates the Broncos from the Chargers.
The quarterback.
Yeah. That's what it is.
That's it. The quarterback. So it's either you're going to go veteran.
Yeah.
You're going to go a little bit younger with Watson.
Yeah. That's a valid point on a quarterback stage.
Yes, it's about scoring. We got to score. Like, it makes everything so much easier. You get your defense to now, pin their ears back and start sending some blitzes, start being creative instead of always just sitting back and trying to protect the lead. No, we need to. You need to strike.
So who do you want? You want the vet? You want the grizzle vet, or you want to stick with Luck? And then draft another guy and do this all over again.
There are 2 quarterbacks that I would take right now. If we could trade for them.
Okay.
And one obviously would be Aaron Rodgers. I'll take Aaron Rodgers.
You can't say no to him.
I'll take Aaron Rodgers like this, a drop of a hat.
Obviously.
But the other one would be a quarterback that's giving me constantly 30 touchdowns, 10 interceptions a year. And I'll let you guys try to guess who I'm talking about.
Russell Wilson?
Nope.
Russell Wilson?
Available.
That's available. Well, he's not available, but if we could trade for him, I'll trade for him right now.
You have to trade for him.
He's giving you 30-10, giving you 4,000, giving you 4,000 passing yards a year, and
Kirk
get shit on.
Kirk
Absolutely.
Cousins.
Absolutely.
Kirk Cousins. Yeah.
Absolutely. I will take Kirk Cousins right now. Put him in the Broncos, and he's taking me to the promised land.
Yep. I love Kirk, man.
So,
everybody shits on him.
Yeah, he's a good quarterback.
So real quick, guys, you know what I'm saying, and we definitely appreciate you guys coming on. Much love, and
absolutely,
I love this segment, and you guys are definitely going to be on with us again. So two things. I don't know if we get who you guys are picking for the Super Bowl and a score. So give me your picks, a score, and then let's let the people know how they can catch you guys' podcast. So winner and a score, and then how they can catch up to you guys' podcast.
I'll go first, Chris, so you can get us out of here. Yep. All right, so I told you guys before, I got Rams 31, Bengals 14.
Wow. Okay.
That's it.
And I'm going Rams
+4 on your betting.
Rams +4, baby.
I'm going Rams 24-17. I think it's gonna be a touchdown away. Yep.
Okay.
I'm taking the Rams.
Yeah, they'll like I said, they'll eventually slide away.
Absolutely.
And
And then-
partner here will let us know. We'll let you guys
In
know
terms-
where to find us.
In terms of your audience trying to trying to find out what we're all about, again with the JD CeeLo podcast, our initial everything is on YouTube. We have a YouTube channel, again labeled the JD CeeLo podcast. We have an Instagram as well, same name. And we just recently signed up for Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. You can find us on each one of those platforms.
Yep.
It's a lot of fun. This guy's crazy. I get crazy sometimes. He's fucking nuts. I love him. That's the reason why he's my brother. We've been doing this for
Clearly,
years
man.
now.
This is fun.
We talk about sports, and then we said to ourselves, I said, look, man, let's put this in a camera so people can see how dynamic we are, how we talk, how passionate we are as fans. And it's been a blessing. We're doing everything we can to try to make this grow and make this look good and feel good. But again, our YouTube channel is where you can see our beautiful faces. Our YouTube channel is where you can see our beautiful faces. But if you just want to hear us, the Apple Podcast, the Spotify, and the iHeartRadio, under JD CeeLo podcast, you can find us at any time. And we'll love all the attention, all the loves and the likes,
Comments
and the comments.
I love the comments.
I love the comments, man. I love the
Yes,
comments,
sir.
man, because people got a
Yes,
lot of
sir.
opinions, and I just love throwing them out there as well, man. So that's us in a nutshell, baby.
Excellent.
And you can catch them on OnlyFans too.
Hey, don't make me take my shirt off. Don't make me take my shirt off, baby. I'll show you a nipple, baby.
Not only fans, bro.
We are charging
Oh,
too.
yeah.
We are
Oh, yeah.
charging.
Yep.
Can we do that? Can we put the podcast on OnlyFans stream?
Don't
I'm
tempt us now.
Hey, look,
Look, don't have
Let me do my.
Let me-
Yeah, I know, right? Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Hello, ladies.
Guys,
my wife told me,
listen.
you better keep that shirt on.
Oh yeah, exactly. But guys, we appreciate you guys having us on, man. Let's definitely do this again. This is a lot of fun.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
It's always great to be able to talk sports, talk passion, talk about what makes us tick, and to be able to meet new faces just like you guys, man. It's always a pleasure. And we would love to invite you guys to our show as well.
Absolutely.
So let's
We
definitely do
will.
this in the future. Let's make this
We here
work, man.
for it. We're here for
Oh,
it.
absolutely.
Yeah, man.
Absolutely,
We
man.
just getting the wheels rolling, man. Just getting the wheels rolling. So it's give it some time.
Let's stand by. Look, we got March Madness and NBA playoffs coming up. So
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah,
And,
man.
I mean, I ain't got a
basketball
dog.
is my thing.
I know.
That's
Yeah,
right.
I ain't got a dog in the fight because my Knicks fucking suck right now. So I got
And-
sold a bag of.
and
I got.
my Bulls are tearing it up.
He's a Bulls fan too.
I'm a
this
Bulls fan.
son of a
I
bitch.
dream to be that he is me.
I'm tired to hear that shit.
Hey, I knew I liked that guy. I knew I
Yeah,
freaking
yeah.
liked him.
Yeah, baby.
You know, I like
You
him.
saw that game last night
Yeah.
too. Kobe White from the three.
Oh, here we go.
Hey, but hopefully, Levine's supposed to have a few. Be talking about a few specialties. Hopefully, Levine's knee is okay because we're gonna need our full team.
Right.
We need Lonzo back. We need Caruso back. We're gonna need
We need
everybody
Caruso
back.
back. And we're still, Ayo is doing his thing too. My man Ayo. I'm like, listen. Chicago kid, and he's chipping in at point guard. Yes.
And but he kind of played that at Illinois. We'll get to that. When we get to that, y'all gonna be back on.
Let's save that for later.
Hold on.
I don't want to be talking about this little Chicago Bull marriage
That's
you
right.
guys got
Hey,
going on
you
here.
shut
Fuck
your
out of
mouth.
here. Kiss
You
my
shut
ass.
No
your
doubt,
mouth.
I'm so
no
sick
doubt.
of you. I'm so sick
You
of you.
will sit down and you will listen.
You know what? I'm so sick of you. I'm about to mute your goddamn mic.
Stacey
bring
King,
it up.
Sriracha.
Hey, Stacey King is the
Son of a
best.
bitch.
Hey,
Oh, yeah.
Stacey King is the best play-by-play guy in the NBA right
He
now.
can kiss my ass. That's what he can do.
Sriracha.
He
Kiss
is.
my ass.
Sriracha.
Sriracha. Yeah. That shit sounds so damn corny, but I like
I
it.
love it.
He is. That's dope. For real.
Love it.
All right, guys, man. We're gonna let you go.
Love you guys.
We got a party to go into right now, man. So, guys, appreciate all the love, man. Again, let's do this again, man. I appreciate
Most
you.
definitely. Let's stay tapped
Yes,
in.
sir.
Fuck
Much
you guys.
love, man. Appreciate you guys.
Enjoy the game,
Appreciate
guys.
you
You got it, man. Peace out, fellas.
Peace out.
All right, peace.
All right, man. Bye-bye.
All right. Well,
Man, that was awesome. That was freaking awesome.
you guys that are watching, this was the debut of the Rooted in Sports live show. we'll be releasing our schedule pretty soon. So be
sir.
pretty regular, pretty frequent. We got a lot of good sports stuff coming up. You know, we had some hiccups. I know we had some sound hiccups, but it was fun. You know, it was a good learning experience. Everybody that tuned in and showed love, you know, we're thankful for that. And yeah, it's exciting.
Absolutely.
So,
and I just want to say, man, like he said, much love to everybody that tuned in. Kenny, you already know how I feel about you, man. You're like a brother to me. Much appreciation. You probably gonna see me on Facebook and on Instagram. You know what I'm saying? Just shouting at everybody and thanking everybody. This is gonna be a spectacular game. So everybody tune in. Everybody be on the lookout because we're gonna be right back real soon with another podcast tackling some sports topics. This is the first of many. The sky is the limit for us. God is good, and yeah, man. Just hey, bro, love you, bro. Much love, man, for real.
Lay too, man. Lay too. Let the fans love everybody. Tap into the game. As you guys know, I got fucking Cincinnati, so when they win, I don't want to hear none of that foo shit. Just come.
And I got the ring.
Right.
So
we'll
see what happens.
We'll see what happens, but that is it for this live pre-show. Game's about to start in about 13 minutes now. So I'm about to hop in, and I literally got to drive because I've been prepping for this so long that I didn't even make any plans to go anywhere. So I have to drive across town to go somewhere. So you guys have a great
I'm right here with my drink on my couch watching this game.
Well, all right, man. All right, Swan Don.
Much love, bro. Kenneth Tiberius Clark. We'll be right back real soon. Much love to the Rooted in Sports podcast and to all the fans. Appreciate you all for tuning in, and we'll see you soon.
See you guys next time.